That's for Israel. Wonder, is it real? Rappers acting, say they high, say they sipping pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big pharma set it up, had to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically, yeah, we in the field. That's for Israel. Wonder, is it real? Took the way you saw the world, then distorted it. Now you think you wanna rock that twirl somewhere orbiting. Theories disproportionate, the truth distorted quick with a forceful grip. They force him a simpler that we absorbing quick. Took the people's signature, that mean extorted it. They forging it, if news anchors informants who informing them. There's a surplus, but they tell us there are shortages. Credit economy mortgages, dollar that's supported with empty fortresses. But what's important is this, we courting ships important. Yes, of course it is, but extortion is in accordance with an assortment list of foreign tricks we ignoring, which informing this, informant this. It looked like we were snoring tricked. Pedophilia and the government endorsing it. Yeah, eugenics is exactly what abortion is. You just vilify those insubordinate. Way to matrix engineer, that's unfortunate. Geopolitically we in a field. That's for Israel. Wonder, is it real? Rappers actors say they high, say they sipping pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big pharma set it up just to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically, yeah, we in the field. That's for Israel. Wonder, is it real?
Oh, in a world. All right, we're good. How's it going? All right, cool, man. Long-awaited show. I'm gonna go ahead and start it off by asking the chat to be chill because people are spiraling about this conversation. I think it's super weird. I think people on both sides are being super weird. So I would ask you guys to just be adults. There are always the group of people that obsessively come to this channel with ill intent, but you should take the high road and just be respectful and be chill. So I'm obviously really pro free speech here, so do what you do, but that's my suggestion. All right, cool. So this has kind of been delayed a bit. That's totally my fault, actually. I've just been like all over the place. But here we are. We finally have it. If you don't know, this is in the context of something called, quote unquote, the final experiment. It's the proposal of going to Antarctica to see if the 24-hour sun phenomena is a real thing. We are on all platforms. If you have any questions, at me. You can also donate questions, kofi.com/Witsit. I think I have super chats on YouTube as well. All right, cool. So we'll just get into it and bring on the guests. So we have tonight's guest, Will Duffy. How's it going, brother?
Great. Glad we finally got to do this.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so I was making it take a while on accident, but we're here. We made it.
Life happens.
Yeah, man. And we were gonna do it last week, and then that didn't work, and then before that, it was just me being not good at communication.
Last week was on me.
Sort of. So, all right. Obviously, a lot of people in the community are not your biggest fan. I'm sure you know that. There's a mixed bag there, and a lot of people are mad at Jaren now, I guess, and a lot of people are mad at me, and we're just now starting to talk. So I find all that very weird. I do understand why people are a bit skeptical of you, but I find the behavior in general pretty weird. But I'll give you a heads up. I'm probably going to ask you some questions that people want me to ask you, and so there's the disclaimer. But if you want to
No
kind of
problem.
just intro, I'm sure almost everyone here knows you or have heard of you or what you want to do. But if you want to kind of lay it out and just introduce yourself, go for it, brother.
Yeah, thanks. So, Will Duffy here. I pastor a small church just outside of Denver, Colorado. And I created the final experiment, which is something that I believe will give us some finality on this debate over globe versus flat Earth. And interestingly enough, I was actually telling my flat Earth friend Wendy today that I didn't come up with the final experiment in reality. In reality, I got this idea from flat earthers. Flat earthers like Dave Weiss, Dean Odell, Jaron, Eric Dubay, things you've said. And so just being in this debate and just watching the videos and the memes and reading the articles over like a 2-year span, I noticed there was like this common theme of like this 24-hour sun in Antarctica was a big deal. And the globe side said there is one, the flat earth side said there wasn't. And both sides seemed to think that if they were wrong on the 24-hour sun, that they were wrong on the shape of the earth as well. So what I did is I put together the final experiment, which is going to pay for participants on both sides, globers and flat earthers, to go to Antarctica this December for a week, 5 days, and just see for ourselves whether or not there's a 24-hour sun. So that is the plan.
Cool. So I heard they said you're a little louder than me. I think I got everything leveled out. If I'm louder now, just let me know. But yeah, I'll give my take on this real quick. Obviously, I'm sure you've heard for one that it's not technically an experiment, and flat earthers are really, really like specific about that word. I actually push back against the typical group that says that, but there is merit in what they're saying. That word is thrown around a lot, as well as science, and that is the primary way we've actually fallen into this problem. And even if you take flat Earth out of it for a second, we still have a problem. We have a problem of people blindly believing authorities and what I call scientism, and we're basically intimidated away from asking questions and thinking for ourselves. And we saw that with the pandemic, and we see that in almost every facet of our life, from what they want to do to our children right when they come out of the womb. It's all this fear of denying science. And so I agree with the fact that science is misused as is experiment. Now, you can do an experiment that's not a scientific experiment, I would say. So obviously that's one thing that everyone keeps saying. I know you've heard that. There's no doubt in my mind you've heard that quite a few times. That's not an experiment. Because a scientific experiment has a dependent variable and naturally occurring observable phenomena. Then you have a hypothesis, a cause and effect relationship test. You presume a cause that you're going to test, and then you manipulate that independent variable or presumed cause in your experiments. And so, yeah, technically it's not a scientific experiment. Nevertheless, it is a very interesting observation, in my opinion. And then to expedite this real quick, my position on it is... So what I've kind of always said is people will say, well, how do you explain the 24-hour sun in Antarctica? And I will say, there isn't one. Like the evidence suggests that there isn't one. There should be way more videos of it. And when Flat Earth first started, there was not even a video of it anywhere. Like you couldn't find it anywhere. And then a video pops up and everyone shares it, and turns out that it was faked. They looped it. So... that's what I've always said. I've always also been very honest that if there was a 24-hour sun in Antarctica that did a full 360 around you, that would definitely, it would be very perplexing. I don't expect it. Based on the preponderance of evidence, it doesn't seem like that would be the case. So it would definitely make me step back and reconsider things. Specifically, what I've always said would prove it is actually north to south circumnavigation. So like that's actually been my claim. So much so I put it in like a rap song back in the day. That was like the thing I used to always say, because it would, right? Obviously, if you go south and you pop back up on the other side of the ball, that can only happen on a globe. And obviously, east to west happens every day, thousands of times throughout history. And north to south hasn't happened. And again, the claims of it are fraudulent. So there's all that. But I will say, so just to, well, obviously the elephant in the room here is like, oh, so what are you going to say if you see it? What are you going to think? I would say, wow, I didn't expect to see that. That matches the globe prediction. Certainly if it did exactly what the globe says. And I would have to step back and reassess everything. I don't, apparently people were frustrated with Jaron. I don't know what he has or hasn't said, but I will definitely say right now, I wouldn't just immediately pretend the Earth's a globe. That wouldn't happen. And that's because of the preponderance of evidence against it. But it definitely would be very interesting and unexpected, and it would make me step back and reconsider things. So there's kind of my take on that. I guess what people really want me to ask you, bro, is, do you understand that line of reasoning as a flat earther? There may be split camps, but there are many people that are going to say, okay, if Austin goes to Antarctica and thinks he sees a 24-hour sun or gives me a video, that doesn't make like line of sight microwave transmissions disappear. It doesn't make all this other evidence that they think falsifies the radius go away. And they're going to say, well, it would show. Okay, here I'm actually going to wrap it up here, and you can talk however long you want, bro. But basically, this is the part of it that's different. Your side, let's just say the mainstream side, the globe model side, it's a very specific claim. It doesn't have options. Like if the sun sets, the model's wrong. Like there are no options there. When it comes to flat Earth, we're like, we don't know what's going on in the sky. And most of us have kind of been humbled by the sky and the Earth and what the Creator made it. We're like, I mean, it's like insane. It's hard to grasp. We don't know what's going on. So we have like a wide spectrum of things. We could literally just go to the drawing board and try to figure it out, whereas the other side can't do that. And so there is a fundamental difference there that I think is being overlooked by people on your side, right? And I think there's people on quote unquote my side that are also being somewhat intellectually dishonest about this conversation as well. But I do think it's somewhere in the middle there. So just to lay all that out there, that's how I see it.
Okay, I'm gonna respond. I'm gonna try to respond.
No, yeah, do your thing.
You just said.
Yeah.
Okay, I tried to remember them all in my mind. So the first thing I'll respond to, and I know you're not saying this, but if people out there don't like the word experiment in the final experiment, I have a new thing I'm telling people, which is this: just change it to the final expedition, and then you can be happy. So that's my response to that. The second thing you said had to do with north-south circumnavigation. Can you just tell me, for my own curiosity, what that would look like in your mind to actually prove that we live on a globe?
Yeah, so obviously east to west, you start in one place, you just go in a giant circle, come back to where you started. You just do the same thing north to south. And as far as we understand, on a flat Earth, if you go south, you can't just keep going and come back to where you started. On a globe, you should be able to theoretically just keep going just like you do east-west. Logistically, it would be tricky, right? You're going to have to know exactly where you are. You're going to have to verify where you are and verify accuracy of cardinal direction. But anyway, if you continued south, you'd pop back up going north on the other side of the ball, which would be exclusive to a globe, as far as I can tell.
Okay, so obviously east to west, they have to stop and land, right? So are you allowing for that on the north-south?
Sure, yeah. Like if you went to Antarctica and landed and fueled up or whatever, right? Yeah, like I said, logistically it is tricky. Like I'll be the first one to say it, because flat earthers are not just going to blindly believe anything. So you have to verify where you are, and that's really difficult to verify that you're for sure doing this theoretical straight line across the heart of Antarctica. But again, it's the thing that we're lied to so much about it, that I again don't think it had. Like someone was given a circumnavigation record for not actually doing it. So it's like, why would you give him the world record for it? So to me, anyway, that I just think I don't know if you agree, but to me, that's a much more definitive proof, because that is that's physically traversing in such a way that is geometrically impossible on a flat Earth. yeah, I can think of no way, right? Unless you somehow got turned around and didn't know it, and I don't know.
Yeah. And in what you're saying, do you have to go around the entire globe, or could it just be like South America across Antarctica to Australia?
Yeah, you wouldn't even need to go across the whole globe. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess, people would argue about that because they're going to be like, well, what if we don't really know about the layout of the continents and that they're accurate or whatever? I'm not gonna lie, that would be a logistical nightmare. You would have to really iron everything out. But yes, obviously the most ideal situation is that you literally just keep going one direction and come back to where you started. And even if you have to stop on the way, we circumnavigate all the time.
Okay, cool. All right. Then the third point you brought up is just about, does this, automatically mean that we live on a globe or not? Here's what I'd like to ask you on this, and I feel comfortable with this, and I think Jaron would agree with this as well. Would you agree that if we do see a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, that would at least falsify the AE map?
A 24-hour sun that does a full 360 around you, yeah, like, unless someone, like, to my current knowledge, absolutely. Like I'll say, I mean, can someone come do some demonstration? And I'm like, wow, I never thought of that. Some people are claiming, there's a guy that flat earth philosophy. I haven't seen it to any convincing extent. I don't really know exactly what he says, but yeah, for the most part, I don't know any mechanism, other than something I haven't heard really people really talk about. And contrary to what 𝐻𝐿Tune says, the Bible actually is a science book, and it says that there's multiple layers, and so there may be some way in that situation where there are multiple layers and the sun's within it. But long story short, as it stands right now, I would say, yeah, that doesn't work on the 𝐤𝐢𝐭𝐬 map.
Yeah, because what I've been trying to help people understand, because I think people are missing this, is that in both models, globe and flat earth, if people used a compass and they just followed their compass north, they would end up in the same place. This is, again, I'm of course you'd be in the ocean and all that, but my point is that theoretically, if we used a compass and it pointed north and people started in different places on the world, they'd end up in the same spot. So I think there's agreement on that from both sides. Yeah?
I don't know if I followed you. Like, you said north?
Yeah, north. So if somebody's in Norway and someone's in Canada, and maybe Russia, and they all just had a compass and they all followed it north and they had no issues getting there, they'd all end up in the same spot.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, seemingly, obviously, we have like magnetic declination and stuff, but yeah.
Yeah. And then, okay, so we agree on that. So then my point is this, now is where the two models part ways. If they then take those compasses and they go the exact opposite of north on the compass, so south, on the globe, they would end up eventually, that's a long distance, but eventually they'd end up in the same spot again. But on a flat earth, they're going to end up further away from each other.
Yeah.
Right.
This is an idealized situation though, because when you go south, if you, like, for example, if you actually did that right now in real life, if you went south using a compass, like, you're definitely not gonna end up in the same place. Like, you're not gonna end up where the globe says. If you, like, in this idealized idea that everyone just goes south from the equator, you're not gonna end up all at the same place like the globe predicts. It's not even close, right? I mean, people died doing that.
My big point is that on the flat earth model, going south, you get further away from each other.
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
And so if we have people, so I haven't found these people yet, but if we have people, we're going to go to Antarctica from South America. So we're going to go to the very tip of South America and then fly to Antarctica. If you've got somebody going from Australia or New Zealand straight south from Australia or New Zealand to Antarctica, and then somebody from South Africa straight south to Antarctica, those three people are going to be as far away as possible on the flat earth. And then if all three of those people all have the same sun doing a 360 around them, that's going to be difficult to reconcile with the AE map. I think impossible.
You're talking about just southern continents?
I'm talking about three people all in Antarctica at the same
Mhm.
time, but in different places.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's what I'm saying. So anyway, I'm content. Like I think it's okay if there's flat earthers that are like, hey, if there's a 24-hour sun, I believe we live on a globe. I think that's fine because it's evidence-based. But I also think it's fine if there's flat earthers that are like, hey, I saw a 24-hour sun, there's a 24-hour sun, therefore the AE map is wrong. Let's go back to the drawing board and see what we can do. I'm fine with either.
Yeah, see, I would undoubtedly be in the second camp, if anything. Like it, I already am not like married to the AIM. Like I think there are discrepancies. Even satellite data shows that there needs to be meridian corrections in the south. So I think there's disproportionate continents in the south and all of that. So that's no problem. I mean, I think it's refreshing for me to hear you say that because I don't know if everyone else knew that or they did or didn't, but obviously, again, the elephant in the room is, bro, like if I see a 24-hour sun, I will be shocked. I'll be like, wait, what? If I was able to look at it with solar filters and everything and see the sunspots and see that it maintained the same exact appearance and did a perfect 360 around me, I'd be like, wow, that's crazy. That's not what I expect at all. I would not become a globe earther though. Like I'm just like, I'm very candid about it because, dude, in World War II, they sent radar 400 something miles and intersected with another station directly on their target so they could actually bomb them blind because it was nighttime. And Britain turned down the technology because they're like, no, the globe's going to stop that. And the Germans were like, okay. The Britons got destroyed because of the globe Earth. And that is a physical impossibility. Like I wouldn't just all of a sudden not know that is my point. Like it's literally physically impossible that someone can. It's because the beam has to be coherent and it has to intersect. And we can maybe. I would like to maybe discuss a couple of the FE things at some point. We can do it later. We're not doing it right now, but because that's the part that I want to actually get out there that I think people are frustrated about. People are going to say that they don't really believe this idea that you're just like fully open and unbiased and all of that. They're going to say that because of your responses to other pieces of evidence. And when you co-align with someone, frankly, like 𝐻𝐻, whether you do or not now, it doesn't matter. Like he is very dishonest about the evidence, right? Like not even all the personal stuff he's dishonest about, which is a ton, claiming that I'm scared to debate him a dozen times and all that. It doesn't matter. The point is that like almost all the people in this group will say sunsets disprove flat Earth. They will ignore that, evidence I just talked about. And so if someone sees like, oh, they don't feel like there's any intellectual honesty with all these other evidences, at least some version of concession, or they can see, oh yeah, I don't know how that would work or whatever, then they're going to be highly skeptical of this presentation that it's just this real sincere, I think maybe it is flat, let's figure it out. You see, that's why people are like so eager to jump on you.
Yeah, here's the intellectual dishonesty that I see. And I'm going to use an example of myself, but I'm trying to help flat earthers understand how they sound to us. So as a glober, if I go to Antarctica, I'm expecting a 24-hour sun and the sun sets, it would be intellectually dishonest of me to say, okay, my model's wrong, but it's just a different globe. I'm not going to consider a flat Earth. That would be intellectual dishonesty, right? And so that's what I'm seeing flat earthers doing, is saying, well, if there is a 24-hour sun, well, we're not even going to consider the globe as an option. We're just going to go find a new flat Earth model. That is intellectual dishonesty. Intellectual honesty would be like, okay, let's now take another look at the globe because it predicted it. And then let's also look at other options.
Yeah, so this is where I'm going to reiterate the difference, right? Which is, I see what you're saying, and I do see dishonesty in the flat Earth camp. And the dishonesty is more accurately put like this: it is the flat earthers who would no question be saying, we know we don't see a 24-hour sun, that doesn't happen, they fake it for years, have now all of a sudden pretend it doesn't matter at all, and that they don't care at all. And like that's not what flat earth is. Flat earth is like, yo, I want to find the truth, they're hiding it from us, let's find it out. Like any flat earther to suddenly backtrack on even wanting to know what the sun does is that is super suspect, and it shows that maybe they're not confident in their position, maybe they have some pride or ego, whatever it is. And flat earthers are not very trustworthy, and they have maybe valid reasons for that, but that's the dishonesty. But when it comes to someone saying that they're not just going to believe the Earth's a globe, or not just going to abandon flat Earth, I don't think that is dishonest. That is my position, and I think it is the more sound position, and that is because the globe Earth has to be a certain thing. In fact, it's a very specific dimension claim, specific everything. And like there is no negotiation. You can negotiate like what are the layers of the Earth, or what is the core. When it comes to the dimensions and the basic geometry of a sphere and how the sun supposedly works on it, there is really no negotiation. The sun doesn't do what it says, the globe model is wrong, right? Flat Earth is not like that. This entire time, there have been flat earthers that have enormously different opinions on what the Earth is. And almost every flat earther will tell you, I don't really know. Very few flat earthers will tell you they swear up and down on that AE map. They may use it. They may say they think it's right. No one's going to swear up on it. So we have like a huge difference. It's important to highlight that difference because one side can go back to the drawing board, one cannot. And that is the difference. Like I kind of already said that, but I think that's an important point to make. Like I'm not going, like I said, I will consider the globe. I'll say this in closing, like you said, if they won't even consider it, I'll consider it. This is what's so funny. Dude, I've considered the globe every day since I first heard about flat Earth. And that is a major difference in I can't speak for other flat earthers, but that's the truth. I don't think globe earthers do, like most of them in this conference, they don't do that. They still say sunsets don't work on a flat Earth. Okay, they can't even still man a flat Earth. Dude, I can still man the globe like with the best of them, and I randomly look at the moon and say, is it really what they said? I actually consider it on a regular basis. I was in a plane, I'm like, could this be a globe? I'm at the beach, I'm like trying to conceive of a globe, right? I do that a lot. I would have no problem going back and considering the globe, especially that would make me really look at it for sure. But I think it would be very short-lived because I just fall right back on World War II, where we shot radar 450 miles and intersect had to be coherent within 450-yard divergence, and it's literally physically impossible on a sphere. So now I'm like just super confused, right? Because these things aren't adding up at that point. So that's what would happen for me. Now I will say this: I know that for the average person, it's going to be a slam dunk for the globe. Flat Earth is disproven. Ha 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 ha. Flat Earthers disprove flat Earth, and that's why a lot of flat Earthers don't want it to happen. It isn't really as much that they're scared of it. It's that they know how it's going to work. They know that the mainstream's going to run with it. They're scared of hit pieces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that all makes sense. That all makes sense.
Cool. Yeah.
Hopefully flat earthers will listen to what you're saying and just be honest about the whole thing.
Yeah, I strongly encourage that, for sure. I think that people are getting triggered. I haven't been keeping up with it, but people have been reaching out to me recently, so I don't know what he said recently, but I think if there's anyone, like, people are going to feel like, are you really a flat earther or were you a plant? If you ever say, like, you would just immediately go over to the globe, like, that just doesn't make any sense. It's like, bro, that makes no sense in my opinion. Like, I know way too much. It's the preponderance of evidence. And that's what Bob used to always say. And this is another important part of it, right? That a lot of the people on that side don't seem to get, bro. If I took flat Earth out of it, so we're generalizing here. The group that normally combats flat Earth, take flat Earth out of it. Say we're wrong about it. We're still right about young Earth. We're still right about geocentrism. We're still right about the poison they give our children. We're still right about homeschooling our children. We're still right about the pseudoscience of dinosaurs, billions of years. All these pseudoscience claims. We're still right about all that. We're right about all that. In that side that claims that we're so stupid and deny science, they're wrong about all those things. They're wrong about evolution. They're wrong about creationism. They're wrong about virology. I mean, the list goes on. So I guess they don't understand. Like, I'm not scared. If somehow I was shown definitively somehow I've been deceived and wrong this whole time, I would wake up the next day and not skip a beat and still have this whole list of things that need to be talked about that we're being lied to about. So you see, I feel like I feel like there's a disconnect there where they don't really seem to get that. And that's definitely where Jaron's coming from. Jaron's like, you know, I mean, I'm not going to suddenly be a heliocentrist, even if I were convinced of it, right?
Yeah, that's a great point. So the final experiment is not addressing any of those other issues at all. It's not. It's simply addressing the globe model versus the flat Earth model, specifically the AE map, and that's it. It's not addressing heliocentrism versus geocentrism, age of the Earth, any of that stuff. So it's a great point.
Yeah, sure. And like, I guess like the point being, like, I can happily say that that's what would happen to me. Like, I can tell you right now what would happen in a situation for me. If you ask many of the people on the other side, like, say, so if the sun sets for 2-3 weeks, they wouldn't say anything. They wouldn't even say it would disprove the globe. Now, bigger names have said it, and now they all kind of, you know, most people are saying it now. And both sides kind of do that, honestly. Like, they wait for certain people that they trust to say it, and then they like think they have the green light. So now almost all the Globers are saying it would disprove the globe. But this is the difference. If I ask, okay, what would you do? You don't even get a serious answer out of me. Like, it's like, go to an insane asylum. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think I would literally question my ability to discern anything in the world. I would have to shut down everything in my, like, they can't even actually look at it and think about it. Now, these are generalized. There's probably exceptions, but you can see the difference there. Like, I find it very weird, you know, because it doesn't really scare me. I guess here, okay, I'm kind of rambling. This is my main point here, and I will say this to the flat earthers. The whole idea of flat earth is that we're not scared of anything. That's like, show us, and every time they supposedly claim we're going to go to Antarctica, they cancel it, they back out, they make excuses. I'm not scared. The only reason that I wouldn't agree to this trip is if I prayed and felt like I was shown not to go, if my family wasn't cool with it, or if I felt like there was something deceptive going on. And there weren't, you know, the certain parameters weren't agreed upon. You know, like the idea of us kind of being in a behind the curve 2.0. Like, I'm not allowing that to happen. There's too many people that trust me to never let that happen. Like, I'm not going to let it happen. So there will have to actually be agreements in place that's not going to let that happen. Now, if we go and see it, sure, you should be able to make some type of video showing that you saw it, but I will not agree to be in some hit piece where I'm taken out of context and we have tape on our mouth while they strawman it. You see, that's a big concern.
You'll be happy to know there's going to be no cameramen. I've actually been approached by multiple film companies and turned them down. So that's completely off the table. It's just going to be us.
Okay, well, obviously, I mean, say 𝐸𝐭𝐬. That's exactly what 𝐸𝐭𝐬 would do. I don't know him that well, but I don't know. I'm just saying there have to be some type of stipulation. I don't necessarily we don't have to get into all of those in this stream. We can obviously do that going forward, but I want everyone to know on both sides here that I'm being very transparent. I have the whole time. The reason that we haven't talked for a while has nothing to do with me like being scared of going or something. It's just that I literally have way too much stuff going on, and this doesn't pay my bills. You know, I have other stuff going on, but there are a list of things where if I ostensibly agree, if there's something that, you know, should be agreed on that's not, then I won't do it. You know, and one of them being like the definitive assurance there won't be a hit piece like that, whether that's final edit rights or however that goes down. And then I guess there's like some type of rule where if it storms and you have to cover all this money if you're stranded there, like, I can't do it. I'm not paying for that. Right? Yeah. So little things like
you
that.
won't have to spend a dime.
And I guess I just mean like obviously like real professionally assured situation, but we don't have to get into all of that. So, all right, what else do you want to say, or any concerns or things you've seen? That you want my take on, because I want to at some point hit you with these questions people want me to ask you.
Sure. So here's what I'd like to say. The globe side is taking a bit of a stronger stance now on everything. So there's a growing list on 𝐸𝐶𝐚𝐭'𝐬's website called TFE commitments. And it's the globe side's commitments to what they'll do if there's not a 24-hour sun. And I don't have them all memorized, but I can tell you that �Tune, I think he would delete all his videos and stop debunking. Craig, FTFE, said he would change his channel to FTGE, Fight the Globe Earth. And so they are making some pretty, what I think is pretty bold public statements about what they'll do if they're wrong.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I mean, I will bite my tongue, but I hear you. That's cool. Yeah, I could care less, honestly, about like Tune deleting his channel, but I hear you. Yeah, like so he would have no choice. But so it's not like impressive. Like, oh, you would probably do that as fast as possible because it would be utterly embarrassing at this point. Certainly, the dehumanizing approach that both of those people have had will be shameful. But I will say this as well. The vast majority of online presence with anti-flat Earth, because I like to distinguish, there's a difference, and I hate labels, but there's a difference in like someone that thinks there is a globe and someone that like obsessively hates on flat Earth. They're almost all anonymous, bro. So you know what they would actually do? They would just they would just disappear. Like so, you know, I don't really see that being. Obviously, flat Earthers have way more on the line here, and I think Jaron may be a little bit blunt with them, and I can empathize. I understand. If Jaron's saying he's going to be a Glober when he gets back, well, we disagree. So we'll go together and disagree on that. But anyway, so
Okay.
and this is another thing, though. This is another thing that I want to make sure that we really kind of, I've said it a few times, but like you get that if we see that in the sky, you can see why they're saying it's not just going to make all the other refutations on the ground like dissipate. Because I want to be very honest with you, right? I feel like your side really thinks this is the final experiment and they think that it's a definitive refutation of the globe. I mean, of flat Earth in the theory that you see it. It really isn't. It is definitely a step in the right direction for your side, but it is definitely not. And yeah, that's how I feel. A lot of people will say Austin's a grifter and he has to keep saying it's flat. He would never admit it. It's like, that's such a lie. You know, like I've been like, so many people have asked me to come on these big platforms like, just ditch the flat Earth though. Like it's actually a hindrance to me. So anyway, you get like, I just want to be very upfront with you, right? Like if you think I'm going and I'm going to be overnight converted to globism, you know, I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't, like realistically.
No, I get it. I think that's completely fine. So again, I can't know how people are going to react to something, but what I can say is that the flat earthers for the last 10 years, I believe, have never once said a 24-hour sun in Antarctica is possible on a flat Earth.
No, only one person I know of. It's the flat Earth philosophy guy has effectively been saying that for a while. Not explicitly, but just he explains like a reflective southern phenomena inside of a torus field that I'm not even claiming is viable, but that's the only person I know. Dude, I 100% agree with you here. Flat Earthers have all been saying, we've all been saying basically the exact same thing, which is there isn't. And yeah, 24-hour sun in Antarctica maybe would be a problem for flat Earth, or people will say it would be a problem for flat Earth, but that's not what happens. And 24-hour sunlight isn't a problem. We can explain that. Almost every flat Earther has said that since its modern resurrection. So this like collective like 180 is weird. I don't like it. Like I disavow. Like just be honest. We've all said the same thing, and that's my position. I don't think it'll happen. I'm curious. You said you talked to them about it. You talked to the people about seeing it.
You mean the company we're using? I talked to them about being able to film.
Yeah, but didn't I hear you say that you told them why and they laughed about it? They thought it was funny.
I told them about flat Earth and how they say there's not a 24-hour sun, and how I want to go down there and film it. Yeah.
And so I'm asking, did they explicitly tell you? Did they like laugh and say we see it all the time?
No, they
Shouldn't they
didn't.
see it all the time? Like, okay, here's another thing I want to know. Here's another thing I want to know. Like, would I be able to talk to these people before we go?
Sure.
Because as it stands right now, I think Jaren's trying to talk to him, hasn't really been able to, and so you can see we have basically just like you talking to them,
Mhm.
which obviously you are paying for it, but I
No,
would
no, no,
like to
yeah.
talk.
So once I get a yes, so the only yes I've received so far is Dave McKeegan. Once I get a yes, I turn you over to them. So you deal with them directly. You ask your questions, you fill out the paperwork, and then once everything's done, then they come back to me for a check. So yeah, you'll be able to talk to them all you want.
Okay. And so I guess that maybe kind of answers the other question, because a lot of people are saying, well, why did they agree to give you permission to let us come out in the prohibited time when seemingly they never have done that? And do you actually have evidence of it? And that's kind of why I'm saying like I'd be able to talk to them.
Mm. Yeah, I can explain that. It's very easy.
Mhm.
So if you look at Union Glacier, so they set that camp up fresh every year, every season. Okay. So in the southern winter, which is, kind of right now, uh, everything just gets covered in snow and ice. So they reset up the camp every year, and it's tense. Like, they're super nice, but it's tense. And so they have a rule of quiet time where they don't want, because there's light in the middle of the night, people are going to be tempted to just go outside and talk or whatever. But people are also going to want to sleep. So they just have that general rule. What I told them, hey, we need to be out to film the 24-hour sun. We can be super quiet. They can put us in a corner tent that's further away from a majority of the other tents. It's not that big of a deal.
Okay, and just to clarify, so you didn't specifically ask them if they regularly see a 24-hour sun?
No.
Okay. All right. So, I do you have anything else you want to cover? Because I'm gonna, I guess it has possibility to get awkward here in a second, because I'm gonna ask you some questions that people want me to ask you.
It's all good, man.
And just know, I actually think it's in the best interest of everyone.
Sure.
You know. So, do you have anything else you kind of want to cover? I mean, obviously, the basics are simple, right? Like, realistically, flat earthers have all said, I don't think we're going to see it. And I'll tell you one thing, dude, if you asked them all right now, they would say, like, real flat earthers are going to say, I don't expect it to happen. I don't expect you to see it. I'm really perplexed as to how they would even let you go. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets canceled, etc. Like, I talk to flat earthers all the time. That's what the vast majority of people are saying. This group of people that are saying it wouldn't prove anything, they also would say that what I just said, right? Like, it's that's the part that's frustrating, because it's like that's usually what Glovers do. From my experience, is they deflect a lot, and it's like, I mean, just be honest that you've said that you don't expect to see it. Be honest that you don't expect to see it, and then say kind of what I just explained, right? Which is that the preponderance of evidence, physical measurement and stuff doesn't just go out the window because we can't explain celestial phenomena. And I fully agree with that. I also think that an honest caveat is like, it definitely matches the globe. It doesn't match our current conception of flat Earth. Would be super perplexing. Doesn't fit in with the rest of the evidence the way that we see it. We need to step back and be honest and be like, okay, we need to recalibrate. We can't figure out some causal mechanism, put our piece this together. We need to like reassess the situation. I don't know why people are scared of saying that, but that's my position. I'm not going to go as far as to say like, oh, it would prove it. It wouldn't, because like one thing that people want me to do right now is to get you to address certain FE evidences, right? And that's because I think typically you'll say, I don't know much about that. I haven't looked into that, or I don't fully know. And people are frustrated by that, because that's the reason that's the reason flat Earth exists. And the people that you originally aligned yourself with, they don't just disagree with our conclusions. They are deceptive. So it's like, there's a difference in disagreeing. Like, okay, you can think there's a glow, but you can think there's a glow without being deceptive. And you can have different conclusions without being deceptive. I know many people that are that way. My mom was just here, right? She thinks she doesn't know anything, but she think, she's not lying though. But like when someone tactically takes your argument, omits certain parts, spins it, and then misrepresents it, and then is corrected on the record, and then does it for 4 years, stuff like that. That is the typical behavior. Like that is the typical behavior. You can just look at my whole resume on modern day debate. Almost every time, the other person is incredibly dishonest and interrupts a lot and deflects a lot, misrepresents what I say. And 𝐚𝐭'𝐬 does that all the time. FTFE does that all the time. So a lot of people want me to really like make sure that this is addressed, right? Because it's like, that is the elephant in the room. It's like when you were put in the group with them, for many people, you perpetually lost credibility. Now, I won't say that, but it definitely didn't help, So, anyway, you get it.
I can't. I don't buy into guilty by association. I can't be responsible for what other people do. I have disagreements with MC Toon. I have major disagreements with FTFE. I've got major disagreements with Creaky. Like, we have disagreements, but we happen to align on this issue.
Yeah,
but so that's it.
𝐚𝐭'𝐬 mocks and ridicules young Earth creationists. 𝐚𝐭'𝐬 ridicules anyone that goes against evolution. 𝐚𝐭'𝐬 berates and harasses and sends people to harass anyone that's a geocentrist. 𝐚𝐭'𝐬 openly talks about how the Bible isn't a science book. You can't trust it at all for anything related to science. I'm saying like this is not a guy, like if you take flat Earth out of it, that goes to show you there's something weird here. It's almost like dark, where these people will befriend anyone as long as they can team up against the flat earther, right? Like there's something like spiritual there, I would say. But anyway, yeah, so let me ask you that question. So are you a geocentrist?
I don't have a position. I'm open to it.
Okay. This is a crude thing, but let's not say gun to your head, but gun to your head type of thing, right? Like if you had to decide within 10 seconds, you have to decide. I'm not going to say anything crazy, but just like as to the, but you get it. Like if you had to decide right now, if the geocentric model or heliocentric, which those are both misnomers in a way, but you get what I'm saying. Because the heliocentric model doesn't even exist anymore. It's actually a solar barycentric, and that's just for our local system, which is in the galaxy. And then there's the Great Attractor, which sounds a lot like Satan. But what's your take? What's your take if you had to pick? You don't have to, but I just want to know.
This is going to show my ignorance on the topic, okay? Because I really have not researched it at all. When I hear people talk about it, this is going to sound weird, okay? So just don't make fun of me. I don't see a big difference between heliocentrism and geocentrism when I hear people talk. And here's why. If the universe is huge, like massive, like we can't even understand how big it is, then the Earth and the sun are like right next to each other. Like for all intents and purposes, they're both in the center if the universe is huge. So that's why I just am not that excited about looking into it personally.
Yeah, like bluntly, man, that is such a cop-out, bro, because it is immensely important and immensely different. The most staunch atheists in the world that I've talked to, now there's some exceptions, they're just lying though. Like frankly, they're just being dishonest. And that's a pretty bold statement to say that, but I am saying it. When you ask them, okay, do you agree that if the Earth is in the center of the entire universe, that at the least it drastically increases the odds it was created? They'll almost unanimously say yes.
Yeah, I will say this as well. I had a mentor who passed away, And he was trying to explain to me that there was like newish scientific evidence that the Earth is at the center of the universe. And I wish I remember what it is. I don't. Maybe it's cosmic microwave background radiation, possibly. I don't remember. But I'm totally open to geocentrism, and I have not written that off at all.
Someone said not a cop out, bro. Like, I think it is, but you can see, because let's lay it out the way it really is, right? These anti-flat earthers, if you were to say that you're a geocentrist, if you were to actually research it and come to that conclusion, they would ridicule you, bro. They would mock and ridicule you. Now it would be very interesting to see, actually, at this point. At this point, what would they do? What would they do? Because typically, this is a testament to the dishonesty on that side. Is every time I try to present this evidence, say to McToon, it's one of the reasons I stopped debating him, because it's just pointless. He always says, "Oh, so you're ready to concede it's a globe now?" It's like, bro, why can't you engage in good faith? But he mocks geocentrism. So it doesn't matter. We don't talk about other people as much. Is what I'm saying is, like, you can see why people would think, wait, so you haven't even researched it, like you're not going to look into it. That's really arguably the first step. And so you're going to go spend all this money and you're going to go look at the sun, but you're not going to take the time to look into arguably the aspect of it that has the biggest implications.
So no, I've never said that, and that's not my position. I'm taking this as kind of like a building blocks. Like, let's start with the first step, which for me would be shape of the Earth. And then once we figure that out, then let's go bigger than that and look at, things like geocentrism and heliocentrism. So no, I am not shutting the door on it at all. I only have so much bandwidth. Like, this project, the final experiment, takes up way more of my time than I could have ever imagined.
I believe that, but we can move on to another subject, but I'm just going to reiterate that I think, bluntly, bro, what I think is it is way safer for you to do that. It's way more comfortable right now, and I definitely can empathize with that because, like I said, this other side would attack you. And they would have no choice because of what they've said historically about other geocentrists. They'd be in a really tricky situation, and they'd probably attack you. And so I can see why you wouldn't want to deal with that. I think you kind of look up to them for intellectual answers, maybe, or like for to have the knowledge of this subject a lot, and so you wouldn't want to go against them. And so I think it is the safe bet. I wish that you wouldn't, but I will plug this for anyone here. The documentary The Principle, which is very old, 2014. It's very good. Obviously, they're globe earthers, Robertson Gennis, and then Heliosorcery, especially for anyone that's a believer. Heliosorcery, 2022, breaks down the history of where this whole deception came from. So anyway, we can move on, but I want to point out that is actually one of the main. That's like the main reason I do this is thousands of atheists have been converted to believers, and it's because they found out that the Earth is in the center, and there's a concerted effort to misrepresent and lie about that. So yeah, anyway, you get it.
You'll be happy to know that I've told high-profile globers that want to challenge me on other issues, theism, Christianity, creation versus evolution, age of the Earth, all that kind of stuff. They've asked me if they can challenge me on that, and I've told them yes after December. So I'm actually going to enter into those conversations with them just after we're done with the final experiment. So I'm not shying away from it.
Sorry, I feel like I hear my stream playing somewhere. Okay. Yeah. Well, I made my position known. It's definitely playing somewhere. But
I don't hear anything.
Yeah, but I do. But if you can, I guess it's fine. Anyway, I hear myself talking 15 seconds ago. It's super annoying. All right. Sorry. It's so distracting. Okay. Anyway, so anyway, we made my point there, right? I mean, it turns out that the Bible is a science book. It predicted anisotropic stones that weren't even discovered until like the last century. It does actually describe what people call dinosaurs, and I'm not really deflecting, making a point though that like there's two camps, and there's the people that are like, okay, I had a real experience. I came to the Creator. I'm learning. I'm growing, but I'm 100% convicted that is the truth, and the truth is contained within the Scriptures. And they found out that man's consistently wrong, and they boldly stand up for what the Creator says, and then time and evidence ends up always vindicating them. There's another group who don't do that, and that they give lip service to the idea of a religion at times, culturally, societally, whatever, and they don't stand for it at all, and they kind of make fun of it. So. Okay, I guess I will reiterate. Do you have any other, like, I want to make sure you get it, because I've been talking the whole time. Although I think that was what was important. I do think a lot of the stuff I had to say to you, but I want you to be able to say whatever you want, or if you have any points you want to make, or do you want me to start asking you questions? And actually, I would really like if you do have something to say for a second, so I can try to find this. Maybe if you want me to ask a question, I can, but this is so annoying. It might be my iPad or something.
Yeah,
so,
I do have something to say. So
yeah, I can still hear you. I'm just gonna find the source.
Yep, all good. I'm actually gonna give some advice to flat earthers. And again, I'm honestly just trying to help you guys because you're really making yourselves look terrible. So Jaron, is like, yeah, I'll go to Antarctica, especially if it's free. And then everybody turns on him, right? And they're starting to say that like Jaron and I are working together and yada, yada, yada. It's all false. And so what you're doing in that is you're showing kind of your true colors, and you're especially showing Jaron how people on his side think. And then I got a notification today. Literally, somebody offers to pay for Nathan Oakley to go to Antarctica, and all of a sudden there's a YouTube video out saying that Nathan Oakley is a shill and he and I are working together. And then I'm noticing comments in the live chat that are like, oh, Austin and Will are working together. Like, it's ridiculous. So I'm just trying to give you guys some advice. When you make statements like that have zero evidence, and that we, Austin and myself and Jaron, know are false, you're definitely not giving your side a good look.
Yeah, I found it as my laptop. I actually agree with you on this too. And I know why, though. I know why it is. It is because the truth is that truth is oftentimes uncomfortable, and the world is not as has been presented, and that is definitive, like for sure, no way around, verifiably. And so there are people that don't have your best interest, that have implemented a concerted effort to lie to us, and so they don't trust anyone, they don't trust anything, and there is historical precedent for infiltration of groups. There are actual intel subsections that literally do that, and it's declassified, and so these people know that. This is the group of people that know about those documents, and so that's what they think. And it's like, I'll be very honest, like, it's on the table for me still that somehow someone has dirt on you, or whatever, you made some type of agreement to get out of something, or you do work for intel. And that may sound crazy, but not when you've lived the life I live, not when you went on tour to talk about the lockdowns, and you had actual Secret Service follow you around for 4 days, and then in street clothes follow you around in grocery stores, and you catch them, the crazy flat earthers being literally like watched and stuff. And so I can empathize with them. I think that they're not going about it the right way. I think like skepticism can be healthy, but this whole like attack, oh, Austin's talking to him, Jared, like, it's so goofy, and it's paranoia, and it's really deterring. So in the meta point you're making, I agree with you, but I do think it's important to also to show, like, in good faith, where that's coming from. It's not really their thought, it's not their concern that's wrong, it's the way that they're going about articulating it. Does that make sense?
It does.
So yeah, like Tucker Carlson bro, probably works for the CIA. You know, like that's the world we live in. The world we live in. So maybe he doesn't, but maybe he does. That's what I'm saying. You know, that's that we do have to actually look at the world that way. So I guess we can lead into that, and this is going to maybe be uncomfortable, but obviously one of the main things that people say about you to me, probably to you, is that you had this situation with finances, and so people proposed the idea that someone came to you to offer to help you get out of it. It's an agreement to get out of it. Or anything like that, but do you want to talk on that? I feel a few ways about it. I've read them. I will say there are some serious allegations in there. I also know how that goes. I also know that people can throw tons of allegations, certainly in civil suits. They can just throw anything in there in a way. So I know that, and so I'm trying to be fair about it, but yeah, just so the audience, there are some serious allegations and settlements, and so people are bringing that up a lot, and they're suggesting that that's where you got this sudden interest in flat Earth. What do you say to
that? So if you look at my past, I have been through this already in my past twice. So I've got 2 issues going on right now. They're both related to my financial practices firm that I had. One issue is with a ex-business partner, and the second one is with a client, a previous client. But I've had these issues before, and so I went through the process. They made their complaints. We mediated it. We settled, and I wrote a check, and then it was done. So with these current 2 issues, I expect them to be done before we even go to Antarctica. So it's as simple as that.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you can see that obviously people will say like downplaying it completely is you're in a position that's tough, right? Like, because that's a private situation in a way, right? It is technically public, but it's like a private thing, and like it's ostensibly unrelated to this, and so it's like probably super uncomfortable for you. And in the scenario that it is just, I do know that in finances things can happen, things can be unpredictable, things can get salty. People can get salty and sue people and all that. So I can empathize with in the idea that is just, since you're like what you're saying is true, then it probably sucks, right? It sucks for it to get brought up, and it sucks for it to be highlighted, and I get it. But I'm also gonna reiterate, like, I don't think people are crazy for like, I think that's actually a healthy level of skepticism for people to have looked into you and to see that and to be like, wait a minute, do you have some type of alternative? Another thing that people have suggested is that the reason, and I do know your version of this, I believe, but that the reason that you went to a church is because you can actually transfer assets to the church and then they can't be seized. Do you have a comment on that?
Yeah, I don't know if that's true. I haven't transferred any assets, and I don't even get a salary. So the reason I became a pastor was because our pastor died. I was literally in the hospital with him when he died. And so that was never even part of my plan. And that happened back in 2021. So.
No, yeah, I definitely know that detail, but so yeah, anyway, yeah, technically you can, like, Ye did that, formerly Kanye West, he did that. He had like a bunch of issues with taxes. He opened up a church, and he was able to evade all of that legally, right? So, you're saying that you haven't transferred any of your assets there. Obviously, whether or not you accept a salary wouldn't be really relevant because that isn't really the accusation, but
there's actually something called a fraudulent transfer in the law, which is that if you have a legal issue, or you're going to have a legal issue, and you transfer assets, that all can be undone. So no, nothing's moved.
I would think that exists for sure. And I would think that people get away with it anyway, but I definitely, I want to be clear, I'm not accusing you of that, bro. I'm just asking the question. Okay. So let me see. I have a couple questions people have asked me. I'll find them, but if you have any questions for me, if you want to ask them real quick, are you cool answering some questions?
For sure.
Okay. And if you have any questions for me, or I do think it is important that we both kind of unite in that we make the point that kind of behavior on both sides is toxic. What I will say, so the flat earthers doing a 180 and all that, I agree with you. I think you put it pretty well. I think I've kind of given it plenty of airtime to kind of agree with it. I think that it makes us look bad. I think it makes us look dishonest. It makes us look like we don't even really, we don't have conviction in our position. It makes us look like what a lot of the other side acts like. And I completely disavow that. I don't think people should do that. I think people should be honest and stop accusing people, being super paranoid, all this weirdo stuff. But what I haven't really heard you point out is the other side, right? And this is, I'm not gonna say you haven't at all, but this is the problem, bro. The other side is incredibly dishonest. They will claim that sunsets disprove flat Earth. To this day, we're talking about people that have been in the conversation for 8 years. Okay, sure. Let's just say, okay, you can disagree. I would reserve the dishonest accusation there. It's like, okay, still man a flat Earth sunset. They literally can't do it. They cannot do it. So if you've been in here for 8 years and you can't do that, you can't still man any of the flat Earth positions, but you know they're wrong. Like, you're dishonest. So you see that the way that we're seeing this is like it's like just another day in the normal day. It's like, of course this group comes around taunting us, saying that we're scared, saying it's gonna prove it, stupid flirt, saw how your grift is over, because that's how they always act. So you see, this is actually out of the norm for flat earthers. For there to be a large percentage of flat earthers kind of acting weird, and it's because they're really being faced with the fact that they're really convicted, and they know a 24-hour sun realistically would make them step back and pause and be like, what's going on? So they're getting kind of uncomfortable, and they should handle themselves better. But you can see that the other side is just how they always act. They always do this stuff. They always are dishonest, and generally speaking, I mean, I've noticed no change in behavior is what I'm saying.
Here's my advice for the globe side, and honestly, this is good advice for the flat Earth side as well. And this is just how I think. I would tell the globe side, if you're going to make an argument, first see if it will be convincing to the flat Earth side, right? Otherwise, you're just wasting air by making that argument. Same with the flat Earth side. So like if someone on the globe side was going to like launch up a balloon to prove curvature or something, it's like, okay, before you do that, ask the flat earther, will you accept it, right? Talk to the flat earthers first and see what they think. Because if they're just going to say, well, your camera's going to have a fisheye lens, so it doesn't work, well, then why are you going to waste the time? Like both sides need to ask the other side, would this convince you? And how can I do it to convince you? And then move forward from there. So that would be my advice. Like, for example, if they're going to say, oh, sunsets disprove flat Earth. Okay, cool. Go first, ask a flat earther, does that work for you? Would that convince you? If I took a picture of a sunset or a video of a sunset, would that change your mind? And if they say no, then ask them why, which you will better understand their position. And then you might not want to waste your time making that argument.
Yeah, I mean, sounds good. You know, that what you just said will never be. I mean, they know, dude. They watched like 50 episodes of my schooling. Like these people know exactly what our arguments are. They will never still man it. And to me, there's no way around it. That's dishonest. When you hear it and you don't, like, I make a point to still man the globe. And I would say I actually give them better arguments than they present a lot of the time. I think that's very important in order to be honest, right? And I guess more so what I meant specifically is how if we're going to call out the flat earthers, where they're saying like, oh, Austin's a shill, confirmed Mason, this weirdo, like paranoia stuff. Like, we should also call out the behavior that is typical, since that is actually atypical. It exists, but it's always a minority. The typical behavior of, oh, Witsit will never go, he's such a grifter. Jaron can never actually do this because he knows he's lying, he's just stealing money. These people know that the Earth's not flat, and they're a bunch of liars. They'll never actually go. They're just going to avoid it. That is 95% of the people on the globe side. That's what they all have been saying every single day in all of my replies and all of my emails for weeks since this first started. That is actually the majority position, is to immediately defame, slander, libel, personally discredit. That's just the norm. And frankly, of course it is, because if someone truly thinks flat Earth is stupid, they're just going to go on about their life. They're not going to obsessively stalk it for years. That is a specific minority of the population that is kind of weird. Like, bluntly, that is weird. I would never do that. So we should call that behavior out as well, because they're hiding behind anonymity, and if we don't see 24-hour sun, they will just disappear into the wind. It will be no skin off their back. So you disavow, obviously you disavow that behavior, and can you acknowledge that it is like very popular amongst that crowd?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. What I will say that I've seen, which has been encouraging, is Globers are starting to change their tune about Jaren, meaning they're like, okay, he seems to be more sincere. He's being honest. He's accurately representing the globe model in terms of the 24-hour sun, and he's explaining to flat earthers why it can't happen on an AE map. And so, yes, the previous things that are said and attitudes that were had was not good, but at least I'm seeing some change now that he's doing what he's doing, being willing to go to Antarctica, etc.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think honestly, it's only that all the flat earthers are upset with him right now, but I mean, I'm not gonna pretend here. Like, the Globe Earth online presence is super toxic, and there's no doubt that they're all saying stuff like that. I don't watch McToon, obviously. The last clip I saw of him, he literally looked possessed, and he was screaming about how I'm a liar and all this stuff, when literally you can just Google what I said, and he was wrong. But the point is that he's saying the same thing. He's saying that I can't actually go. There's no doubt. I don't have to watch him. I know he's saying it. And so they all say it. This isn't anything new. And them kind of being like, oh, well, at least Jaren's kind of honest. It's like this backhanded slight anyway. So it doesn't matter. This is a futile pursuit. They aren't going to change their behavior. But I think realistically, if anyone watches my stuff, they know that I make it a point to try to be honest. And if I find out I'm wrong about something, I try to say that. So I don't think they'll ever admit that, though. But if you have any questions for him, tag me or send them a super chat. Do you care if I run through some of these real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Question: why would a 24-hour sun disprove flat Earth? Can you explain why a 24-hour sun can exist on a flat Earth? Why would that be unique to a globe? Yikes!
Sure.
That's a real basic one. Go ahead.
It's okay. I'll handle it. I like this question. So here's my position, and you guys can think about it and get back to me with if you disagree. The globe model says that there is a 24-hour sun in the north in the Arctic Circle and a 24-hour sun in the south in the Antarctic Circle. The globe model also says that that 24-hour sun is going to happen at opposite times of year. And then the globe model also says that that sun is going to visually move through the sky in the opposite direction. So those are all very specific predictions. And so the flat Earth side and the Globe Earth side actually have some agreement that there is a 24-hour sun in the north. So fortunately, I didn't have to make that part of the experiment. And so now we are going to Antarctica to see if there's one down there. The issue with the 24-hour sun in the south on a flat Earth is what I said, which is that if you move north on a flat Earth, you go toward each other and eventually are in the same place. And then if you go the opposite of north, which is south, you go further and further away from each other. and you get so far away from each other, I don't know of a model where the sun would circle all of those peoples, go around them right above the horizon, 360 degrees, the same sun being photographed, so you can see the same sunspots. That is why, again, I didn't invent this. So there's a reason why flat earthers have said for years that there is no 24-hour sun in the south, and that a 24-hour sun in the south would not work on a flat earth. And then the really bold statements came from the likes of like Dave Weiss, where he said a 24-hour sun in the south would prove the globe. So those statements, just so everybody knows, is what I heard and how I came up with this in the first place. So that's my take.
All right. All right. I'll just read this off. I don't even think it's a question, but Billy Zick has a book about north to south circumnavigation using real life technology called The Odysseus. Check it out. All right. Thank you for the support. Barnes, what is the name of the beer on The Simpsons? Proud Flurf, easy to play the fence as to not offend anyone. Yeah. I don't even think that. I mean, you do kind of sit on the fence, but I think you are a glober. As it stands, you think the Earth's a globe, yeah.
Hmm. Definitely.
You see, one of the things someone just said in the live chat is like, Will says that he's a globe earther, but every time any specifics mentioned, he says he hasn't really researched it. What would be your take on that? Like, why would you be convicted in the globe?
Well, yeah, so great question. There's a huge difference between the shape of the Earth and then everything else in the universe, right? Like the moon, the sun, the stars, all that kind of stuff. So again, I've said this before, I believed in the globe because that's what I was taught. Like you're not taught that there's any other models, you're not taught that there's any other people who disagree. You're just taught this is the globe, here's what it looks like, yada yada yada. Now, when I got involved in flat earth, which was 3 years ago this month, and found out you guys are real, you really believe in flat earth, you have arguments, that's when I had to actually start looking into this for myself. And again, people make fun of me for this, and that's fine. But what was the most convincing thing to me was the Japanese geostationary weather satellite called the Himawari 9. There was a Himawari 8. It was replaced by the Himawari 9. And I am very fascinated. It takes a picture of the Earth every 10 minutes, supposedly. And I'm fascinated by those pictures. And I do believe that that's good evidence that we live on a globe. So again, I know you disagree. I know you don't like that I say that, but that is where I'm coming from. And I'm excited about the final experiment as well, because I think that will either be evidence to back that we live on a globe, or it will give me something to be like, wait a minute, Will, maybe we don't live on a globe based on what happens with the sun.
And to clarify, I don't like or dislike that you say it. Like, I don't, if someone wants to believe in pictures from NASA, they can. You know, to me, it's an insane position because they've provably lied to us many times, and you could easily fake the pictures. But I don't really care. Like, the only reason I do this is objectively. There's tons of this conversation that has been suppressed from the public and has been misrepresented. Whether that even be CMB, the average person doesn't know about that. Whether that be what actually happened with Michelson-Morley, the reason relativity was introduced. Wikipedia still lies about it to this day. What Edwin Hubble actually figured out. What the people at the time were saying about how, like, oh, this is a problem, but we philosophically don't like it. Where the actual heliocentric model came from. All of these things that actual literal Satanists started NASA. Admittedly, literal Satanists started NASA. Does that mean they're not going to space? No, but the point is that they're literally, openly Satanists that started it. And so my point is that I want everyone to see the information. That's literally my only objective. In fact, I don't want a lot of people to be over here like hanging out with me. Like, I don't like them. You know, I think that I want to show them love as a believer. But like, I don't. You know, it wouldn't be awesome if everyone was a flat earther. I don't. You know, that's not actually how I feel. So, just to kind of clarify for the audience there, like, I don't try to proselytize people to flat earth. I think the creator shows certain people that his creation is special when they need to see it. All right. My girlfriend worked in Antarctica and launched balloons there. Second fact, my uncle Lie has a missile defense companies, and he goes to Antarctica. Zoom call, NASA, proven liars. Very incoherent super chat, man. Thank you, Aaron, but that was break. But I know him. He's basically just saying he's from maybe I won't say it, I don't know if he cares, but he's from where tons of history with NASA is. He has lots of connects. And he's saying NASA's definitely liars. All right. He says NASA has proven liars. What did NASA do to earn your trust, Duffy?
Okay, that's a fair question. So when I started looking into the Apollo missions, I was blown away by the fact that you can listen to the recordings. I believe you can listen to recordings of the Apollo missions for all 24 hours. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Now, I didn't listen to them all, but not only could you listen to them, they've transcribed the calls and you can search them with, Adobe PDFs. And I just, again, like you said, from a preponderance of evidence piece, I thought the evidence that the Apollo missions were real is overwhelming. So that was it for me.
Okay. Are you affiliated with BlackRock?
No.
Are you involved with the Heritage Foundation?
No.
Okay. Someone said, can you still man a sunset on flat Earth?
No. I could take a guess, but I don't know.
Do you see why you see though from our perspective is like of course you're a glober, like you can see that obviously that
Can I try?
yeah.
My best guess, my best guess is that the sun can be brought back with Zoom.
That's the main thing people always try to say, because like my wife said something to that effect in a debate one time. Like,
Oh, really?
fully bringing the sun back once it's actually gone is like very difficult, if not impossible. Sometimes you can bring it back when it seems to disappear. Our position is that the sun is a local light source that moves away from us in the distance. Eventually gets so far you cannot see it. And that's because you're looking through more and more atmos. And we've proven that because you can take videos and pictures of the sun and it'll disappear. You know, like if you go to the beach, you'll see the sunset. So it'll have a line cut off the sun. You'll see that exact same thing, that straight line that cuts off the bottom of the sun up in the air above the horizon. Literally, you'll see it up in the air, which proves it isn't the physical curve of Earth blocking the sun, or it doesn't have to be more like specifically irrefutable. Because it does the same thing with the atmos, because there are parallel layers of atmo, right? And the sun goes so far beyond it that it just blocks the light. So it's pretty simple. Like the sun goes away from us and it looks like it's going down, just like streetlights look like they're going down. They disappear. It disappears into the horizon, behind the atmo. And actually, it seems to change angular size just a little bit. And no one's actually provided evidence to the contrary. Every time they claim they do with solar filters, when we actually look at them, the pixels change. But we don't expect it to change a lot. Anyway, like you see, there are some details here, because then it's like, okay, well, the angular size is what they always deflect away from. They'll be like, it can't disappear from the bottom up. You'll explain it can. Instead of being like, you know what? Touche. You're right. You have physical evidence that it can disappear bottom up above the horizon. So you have proven that talking point wrong. I will retire it. They don't do that. They just say, oh, well, why doesn't it change angular size? And then the next day they come back and say that it can't disappear from the bottom up. So this is kind of this is why I stopped engaging with a lot of people, actually. But all right, anyway, and you can see why, if I've taken the time to say that to someone like 1,000 times and they unanimously can't still man it, it's just so stupid to me, because it's like I can still man everything about the globe, bro. And the reason is because I went to see if it's true. I started like trying to see if I could debunk their claims. And so then I started creating the best defenses possible for their claims. All right.
I won't forget what you told me, by the way. It's the first time I've heard it, so I'll think about it.
Okay.
I won't forget it either. So if you ask me again in the future, I'll be able to tell you. I'll be able to steel man it.
Cool. Question. Now, if you elaborate how heliocentrism fits the biblical creation on story about the sun.
I don't see anything in the creation story that talks about the position of these things that were created, meaning like this one's in the center and this one's not. I just don't see it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it very clearly says that the sun moves, right? But we don't have to get into that. I have a whole presentation on it, though. I was trying to find a picture for you to see it, but I'll send it to you or something, or maybe I can find it in a second, where you can see the sun disappear.
Okay.
Aaron, different Aaron. When is the trip? Can anyone go with you, or is it fully booked? How do I sign up, and how much does it cost?
Yes, anyone can go. It is not fully booked. The cost is about $31,500. This trip, by the way, a lot of people are still missing this. This trip I didn't create. This trip is an annual trip put on by a company based out of Salt Lake City, Utah, called Antarctic Logistics and Expeditions. And yeah, anyone can go. It's their regular rate. All payments go to them directly. We already have one person, actually two people that have self-funded to join us and go. And other people have asked me about it, and they might still be joining us as well. So yeah, the more the merrier.
Do you know what the current availability is?
No.
Okay. So, and someone asked earlier, we as flat earthers, myself included, allegedly, should ask ourselves, why didn't we think of this first? And I feel the answer is very obvious, but it's like a very expensive gamble, right? Like in theory, you can go down there and see clouds. And I know that your position is, well, statistically speaking, if you're there that long, you'll have moments that you can put it together and stuff. Of course, the average person doesn't want to spend all that money, especially when we think they're lying. And we know, like, making clouds is one of the easiest things to do in terms of weather modification. I mean, it was on like CNN back in the day. Literally, they just showed you them making NASA making clouds on CNN. So, like, let's spend tens of thousands of dollars to not go see anything. That would be our position, as to why we didn't do it, just to kind of address that. All right,
yeah,
cool.
The burden is really going to be difficult on the globe side for this expedition, because we have to show the 24-hour sun, right? We're making that positive claim. And so if there ends up being cloud cover and we can't do that, that's a win for the flat earth side. It's a loss for the globe side, and I'm out a lot of money. So that's a risk I'm willing to take.
Cool. All right, I'm going to show you this really quick. And so what I want to do is I'm going to show you this, but I want to show you at some point before you get out here. I don't know how long you want to stay or whatever, but I want to show you a flat earth. Basically, this is, and I'm going to be real blunt with you here. And, it is what it is. People think that when I show you and break down a flat earth evidence, that you're not going to be honest about it. And they think that, of course, there's a disconnect as to would it or would it not prove, whatever, because there's a disconnect in situations like this. And I'm just being very honest. Let me real quick share this with you, though. This is different. This is about the sun. I just want to show you. Because every single globe earther, quote unquote, who continually says the sun could not disappear from the bottom up on a flat earth, after seeing this video, is just dishonest. So you see it, they see it. Let's just play it real quick.
What's the backstory on this video?
It's just a time lapse of the sun setting over the ocean. So you see how that looks just like when the sun sets over the water, right? But it's clearly up above the water. So that means there's a horizontal.
Maybe not.
Good.
Huh?
What are you saying?
So I've never seen this video. I'll tell you my first thought. I lived on the ocean for over 3 years in Puerto Rico. And I'm sure you're familiar with this, but there's this weird optical illusion where it looks like boats are floating above the water. And I've seen that behind my house.
Sure.
And it's bizarre. I can't explain it, but I know that boat is not in the air. I just know there's water I can't see. And so my first thought is, maybe what if that optical illusion is happening here?
Okay. And I think it isn't, because the actual when you see the boat like that, you'll see the extension from the water. You'll actually see the miraging extension from the water. But this is perfect, because I want to show you this real quick, because I think regardless of what people think about the conversation, the dishonesty's got to go. I'm not saying you're being dishonest right there. I'm saying it's got to go. So this sums up the whole thing here really fast. Right here. And then let me switch screens for you. All right. See, you can see that picture, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let me make sure they can see it real quick. So this is obviously a number of different pictures. And if you see here the sun, you see nothing underneath the sun in the top left. And then as the sun gets further and further down, you start to see the 𝐭𝐻𝐭'𝐬 Mountains. Now, of course, side note, the 𝐭𝐻𝐭'𝐬 Mountains should be completely behind the curve of the Earth. People will claim it's refraction. It's a silhouette. It's the absence of light. Refraction just turned into you can just say it, and somehow it becomes true. I don't even want to get into that. This is not, silhouettes don't refract because they're not light. But it doesn't matter. The point here is this is one thing a globe earther has to now concede. You see no mountain here. As the sun gets behind the mountains, you start to see the outline of the mountains. So what that proves is that simply because of the atmo, nothing else, you cannot see the mountains, right? And the reason you can see them here is because now the much brighter light source is behind the mountains, and that can actually make it through all of that air between you and the sun or the mountain. So the light here is much more ambient light, so you can't see it. But here you can start to see it because now it's getting backlit by a much brighter light source. So what this proves is that things can disappear in the distance just because of the atmo. It's called attenuation of light. So now when we look at the other video, we have to acknowledge that it is absolutely possible that that things can just begin to disappear in the distance because of atmos. So I just think that's important. Now, when you apply it to the sun, obviously the sun is going to be going down optically because of perspective, and it's going to be going into these horizontal layers of the atmo. So eventually the sun can't make it through it. So either way, I'm just saying we all have to now acknowledge. So because basically what a glober, we can wrap this up here, but the glober would say in the top left, that's proof the Earth's a ball. Because we know there's 𝐭𝐻𝐭'𝐬 Mountains there, you can't see them. They would claim that proves the Earth's a globe. But it doesn't because just, 20 minutes later, you see the mountains. So what it proves is that things disappear in the distance and not because of Earth curvature, or it's not exclusive to Earth curvature to make it specific. All right.
Makes sense.
All right, cool. Let me check the questions here, and then I don't want to keep you here forever. I don't know how long you want to be here.
Honestly, my bedtime alarm went off on my phone. So
okay, cool. Okay, so let me real quick read this. Great interview, Witsit, an awesome debate on MDD. Ask Duffy what part of his religion acknowledges a spherical globe in motion, or does his faith in science contradict his religious faith?
No. So my current position is that I don't think the Bible was written to tell us the actual shape of the earth. I think that God's creation was meant for us to explore and discover and find out. But, that means I have to interpret certain things certain ways. So my current interpretation of the firmament of Genesis 1 is that it's referring to the crust of the earth. Now, what I've told people, and I'll say it again, is if we go to Antarctica, there's not a 24-hour sun and the sun sets, I'm going to immediately say, okay, my interpretation of the firmament being the crust of the earth is probably wrong, and I would be open to it being a dome. No problem.
Okay, cool. Like, we won't even get into that. I think that there's like a 0% chance you and I could go back and forth on like biblical creation, and you come out on top. I think it's very, very, indisputable. But obviously, we don't have time for that. All right, real fast, I'm going to show you this because people are going to get mad if I don't do at least one FE proof really quick. Okay, so like I told you earlier, you can see this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so in World War II, they used to do this thing where they would guide planes in blindly. So they would land with actual radio beams blindly. And what they would do is they'd be able to know where the center of the beam was. So as they were approaching, they would guide them with the radio signal sending out to them, right? They'd follow to the center of the beam. And the way you know it's the center of the beam, if you're off of the center, it'll just be like really slow beeps or really fast beeps as you get closer to the center. When you're actually in the center, it'll be a continual tone. So they would get there and they'd be like, oh, now we need to keep going here because we're in the center, and that's going to guide us to land on the runway in the dark. So it was actually it's pretty incredible, right? So anyway, that's how the pilots could land blind. Then someone thought, wait, we could do this same thing in reverse, and we could actually attack our enemies blind, like at night when you can't see. And so Winston Churchill's second in command was proposed with this idea, and he turned it down. He said, that won't work, obviously, because the Earth's a globe. And very high frequencies, they're not going to be able to bend around the globe. There is no way that we can do that. That won't work. That's stupid. Germany did it anyway. And so here's an example of when they did it. And this is all documented. We have all the source material. Okay, so they basically, you send out one beam and then you send out another beam from a different location. They intersect. Okay, and where they intersect, once you're getting the signal back and you know that they're intersecting, that's how you know where that location is that you can then bomb, right? And they did this to like a manufacturing plant where they were making engines. Okay, so the first distance, and I'm going to do it real quick. The first distance was 450 miles away. The second distance was 335 miles away. Okay, so obviously if you look at the Earth curve calculator, the target, the hidden is like 100 and I think 18,000 feet for one, and something like 70,000 feet for the other. Okay, so anyway, long story short, they sent these beams out and they were able to successfully intersect them from that far away of a distance, and they blew up the place successfully, right? So basically, the globe got Britain blown up, like quite literally. The belief in the globe, and they would be geometrically correct. You couldn't do it. For whatever reason, Germany ignored this idea and just did it. And that's a debate for another time, as if they knew or not. Who knows? So here is all the documentation of how they didn't know. Here's how the idea of like the skywave propagation wouldn't work. That's not how this technology works. So long story short, to go do this, someone would say, oh, well, maybe they tilted it up. First of all, that wouldn't even matter. If you tilted up or down, you're just going to miss the target anyway. But they were actually built in such a way they didn't tilt up or down. They only turned horizontally on the axis. All of this can be looked up and verified, and I know you have to take my word for it right now. Not really the point. And then, so what, say Dave McKeegan made a video responding to this, and he said that it was diffraction. Okay, diffraction. Now, quickly, that is objectively not a viable answer. That wasn't never proposed by any of these military scientists or engineers when they were talking about whether or not they could do this, because they knew it wasn't an option. Because when something diffracts, what happens is it continues to increase its width. The beam gets wider and wider as it gets diffracted. As it's getting blocked, it keeps getting wider and wider and wider. The beams had to stay within 400 to 500 yards each, or at the distance of 450 miles, right? They had to calculate the exact width that the beam would diverge out so that they could intersect them. They could get the center of each beam to intersect so they could successfully hit their target, right? If they had actually sent that over a globe and it diffracted every time it hit the globe, so it's like 30 miles at first, and then it hits the globe again, then the beam divergence would have gone out to roughly 12 miles. But actually, it was only 400 yards. And you have to know exactly what the width is to successfully intersect them. Diffraction is literally not possible. The diffraction can't answer the question. So I actually will be honest here, and I can say I don't expect you to be able to truly rebut this, but I'm hoping that you can at least understand it. Mm-hmm. They sent this beam horizontally over the Earth. And let me just take this off the screen. They sent the beam out horizontally over top of the Earth. Line of sight as if the Earth is flat, two different locations. They intersected. They were able to successfully blow up a place that was manufacturing engines in the heart of war with people's lives at stake. Britain turned it down because they said it wouldn't work for the globe, and then they got blown up. So can you see? And can you see why, like, say from our perspective, where McKeegan will do that diffraction video? We've buried the diffraction video. We've invited him to come talk to us about it. Diffraction objectively doesn't work. That's why they didn't say it. No official source says it. McKeegan said it. And he used like radio stations as an example. Totally different. You have to have very coherent beams that have a small width. You have to know the width that intersect to blow up your... Long story short, McKeegan will probably not do a follow-up rebuttal. Like, he won't stillman our refutation of diffraction. The globe side will have a monolithic absorption of diffraction, and they'll never change it. So you can see why, from our perspective, it's like, if I saw a 24-hour sun, that'd be really perplexing. But it wouldn't mean that these like really coherent beams that were shot in order to blow up an entire, manufacturing plant in the World War II, that doesn't just dissipate. We still need answers to many things such as that. And I would say that's a direct physical refutation of the globe model. So you can see why people aren't necessarily being dishonest if they say, well, it doesn't make the Earth a globe if I see a 24-hour sun.
Mm-hmm. Is McKeegan the only one that's attempted to respond to this so far? that
As
you
far as
know?
as far as I know. Now I don't watch like 𝐻𝐿Tune and stuff. I'm assuming they're all saying diffraction though, because
I will I will ask them and I will definitely look into it. I have no answer. It's very interesting to me. It's more than just it's more than just a test. It's like there was like a war and they used it to, hit their enemy. That's cool. I dig that.
I think it's very cool too. I think it's very cool. Okay, cool. I mean, I guess that's all we can expect for an answer. But just so you know, like, that's a refutation of what we were told we live on, as far as and I just want you to know that we could have done that this whole time, and I have a list of probably 40 or 50 things that literally over the course of the years I've waited like bated breath to hear their responses. And it always gets to the point where they make a response, we show what's wrong with it, and then it stops. Okay, so, that's the untold story. And obviously you'll hear a different version of the story. But I think that the faith speaks for itself, so.
Hey, we're going to have a lot of time together. Let's discuss these things in Antarctica with McKeegan.
Okay. I think that we're good, man. People wanted me to probably ask more like crazy questions, but I guess I know you want to go, so let me say what everyone wants to hear about whether or not I'll go. As far as I can tell, I think you're probably being honest. Kingdom and Context just said, "I'll beat this drum till death." Will, how can you redefine how can you redefine the firmament against all historical definitions and 500 contextual usages in Scripture? Heaven is the name given to the firmament above the earth. What's to stop you from redefining words like salvation or son? I know there's obviously history there, so.
Yeah, I can answer that. So if I'm right on my interpretation that the firmament in Genesis 1 is the crust of the earth, which separates the waters above from the waters below, I don't see how that is going against definitions. Rakia, from my research into the Hebrew, is like something that's hard and stamped out, which I think the crust of the earth would work for that. In terms of the name heaven, people struggle with this one, but there's a qualifier in Genesis 1 where it talks about the firmament, but then it qualifies it, and then it switches to a firmament in the heavens. And so I think that those are talking about two different things. So I personally don't look at it as me redefining a word. Could I be interpreting it wrong? Yes. And I'm definitely open to that. And this journey to Antarctica is going to be part of that, me figuring all of this stuff out. So.
Cool. All right. Let me say the last thing everyone wants to hear, kind of my whole position on this, obviously. So I can certainly entertain the idea that you are sincere and being honest. I will very candidly say that I also entertain the possibility that isn't quite the case, and I would think things like not ever really looking into geocentrism or saying you've heard about flat earth for 3 years, but not really being able to still man a sunset, not really seemingly every time a specific evidence is presented, it's like, well, I'll look into that, I don't know, and then it's kind of thrown away, or you maybe just go to hear whatever 𝐻𝐿Tune says, maybe, I don't know, and I'm not going to speak for you, but my point is, that kind of thing, like not really being particularly familiar with a lot of the evidences that we say refute the radius, to truly even kind of intellectually understand our position as to why we would say, the lights in the sky don't automatically make the earth a globe. I'm sure you've heard that saying a lot. Certainly can come off as disingenuous. And I'm sure you're busy. I'm happy to say, like, I don't know why you have or haven't. I don't know what all you got going on. I know you seemingly are a preacher, right? So like, so to make this very clear, and people can get triggered if they want to, right? I 100% can see the situation that you are sincere and you think like, oh, well, I got a bunch of stuff going on and this would kind of like quickly get the answer. Who knows? Whatever, right? Like, I think it's possibly being sincere. I also think that you're not going about it the most diligently, or, you're not really trusting people that are intellectually honest. And one could maybe describe the response is as squirmy sometimes, right? So that's my honest critique about all of that. I think we addressed the other stuff where it's stuff that I could never know anything about. I don't know what's really going on with you behind the scenes. I'm not going to randomly throw out accusations of you being a Masonic actor or whatever. People say that about me, bro. I think it's super lame and weird that people do that. Are there almost assuredly some people that have infiltrated truth movements? Yes, the government says they do that. We don't know who it is. And I don't just randomly say it about everyone. I don't know if they have dirt on you. I don't know if you're set up to do this. I don't know if you know something I don't know. I don't know anything about that. Could that be true? Maybe. Could it not be true? Sure. But here's the conclusion. I am not scared of truth. I am a flat earther because of that. It's been very detrimental, and despite all these people saying crazy stuff about flat earthers, they're some of the strongest people in the world. To be able to actually speak up in this environment is not easy. Now, there's obviously bad apples in every group, but I admire truthers that boldly speak the truth, certainly when they're not anonymous. And I empathize with their concerns. Much of them actually just care for me. People are actually sincerely reaching out to me with genuine concern, whether people think that it's crazy or not. They're saying, someone else needs to go. We can't lose you. This is sketchy. This doesn't make a lot of sense. They cancel every time. Why? How come all of a sudden they can do it? People are genuinely worried about it, okay? But I am kind of not like that at all. Like, I trust the creator. I mobbed around the Secret Service. I don't really care about being scared of death and stuff like that. If I die, it was the creator's plan and stuff like that. Obviously, I have a family, and I feel very obligated to not do that and to be responsible, but I trust the creator. So, long story short, if the parameters are agreed upon, and I don't have, so that being final edit rights, like in writing, nothing that can financially come back on me, I'm able to talk to these people and actually fill out the situation, et cetera, then I am 100% open to go. 100%. Yeah, like to me, I want to know if it's there. I don't know why I would be scared of it. It's going to be pretty lame. Like, I don't like when it's cold. I wouldn't really want to do something like that. I don't think it's going to be like, oh, look at how awesome Antarctica is. It's going to be really cold. It's going to have some snow. I don't, but I'm open to it. So I will say, tentatively, yes, is my position right now. Obviously, for me, in conclusion, the most important thing is I need to pray about it. And I do feel that the Creator answers prayers and will give you signs and will help you know what He wants you to do. I think He speaks through His Word. I think that He will give you discernment and wisdom. And so I was holding off on this before truly seeking the answer that way, and that will be my first step. And then obviously talking to my family, who, Kai feels the same way I do. She trusts my discernment, she trusts my wisdom, and we trust the Creator in terms of protection. So I don't really foresee that being an obstacle, but those are the two things that are still on the table that I, could change how I feel. But yeah, there you go. That's kind of how I am right now. Like, will need like kind of these definitive in writing things. Mm-hmm. And I think everyone should agree on that. And then as long as I don't feel like the creator's like, no, don't go, or something like that, or something serious happened with my family, then I'm down to go. Me, you, Jaron, Dave, I don't care who else goes. And then we fully document everything. I know a lot of people, like right here, Austin, don't go. Austin, don't go, for God's sake. I'm Admiral Akbar. It's a trap. I would like to think, because I'm being very tactical about my appearances and stuff like right now, by the time December comes around, if I die on this trip, I don't really think that people are going to think it's a coincidence. I don't think so. I really don't. So it is what it is. Like I said, that's my position, just so you know. Like, I'll pray about it. I'll say tentatively yes. I'm not scared. I'm down to do it. I want to know the truth. I'm down to call the bluff at the least, because people always seem to back out. And then obviously if I say I'm going to go, I'm not going to back out last minute. Right? So there you go. That's my position. I know it's not a definitive answer. I don't know if that's what you were hoping for right now, but
it's good. Yeah, it's good. So just for everybody's knowledge, Critical Think in the live chat is going with us. Another guy named Leonard is going with us. He's self-funded. 𝐭𝐬s is still on the table, so she and I are communicating. Alex Stein is still on the table. So yeah, I think there's going to be quite a big group of us. So we're all going to be on the same plane doing the same thing.
Okay, that's cool. More people, the better. I would say the more people that are more along the Candace Owens and Alex Stein side of things is better. But
yeah,
cool.
All right. Thanks, man.
Yeah. Sorry, I know it's so long, but
all good.
Yeah, I'm glad we finally got it done, and much love, bro. Thanks for coming on.
All right, talk soon. Bye-bye.
All right, later. All right, the camera is going to mess up. There it is. All right, I will just go ahead and say before I even start reading the chat, I know there was no way to make everyone happy, okay? There's no way that I could have made everyone happy. I don't care. I had a lot of stuff happen leading up to this time, the time that I was going to do the show, so I wasn't able to put all kinds of questions together or whatever. So it is what it is. But yeah, look, if I had said I'm not going, then some people would be like, oh man, you're letting them off the hook. Da, 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 da. If I had said that I am going, people would be like, oh no, Austin, why are you going? It's a trap. Da, da, da. Like they have inside knowledge that they know somehow. I just explained how I feel. That's how I actually feel. I don't feel the need to lie. I'm not scared. Maybe we're just built different, not everyone is built the same. It is what it is. If you haven't seen my activism, which, I mean, I think I could have done a lot better, and I don't necessarily go around showing everyone my activism now, but maybe you need to if you don't understand kind of who I am, and not everyone's the same. We're all different. I don't live in fear. I'm never going to do that. And I'm not going to let, I want to know the truth. Like, anyone that claims to be a flat earther that wouldn't want to know if there's a 24-hour sun is super weird to me. If you wouldn't even want to know, since when do flat earthers not want to know knowledge that has been seemingly suppressed from us? If there's an opportunity to go figure out, since when are flat earthers the ones that don't want to know? Oh, I don't even care. It's like, what? What are you talking about? Like, I said everything that I think needed to be said. There's no way to make everyone happy. I don't really care. So, yeah, and like I said, I trust the creator. If there's something that I can't put my finger on that I don't know, like, I think that he'll let me know. I think that something will happen, something will be shown to me, and I will know that way. Cool. I think I said everything. I said everything to him, so you guys should know where I feel this time. He skipped my super chat. Won't he discuss Brian Mullins? I just know the name. I don't know any specifics. This guy seems sketchy to me. Sorry, just doesn't pass the vibe check. There's no doubt to me that, like, just like I just told him, it comes off that he's being squirmy at times and, like, never gets a straight answer. When it comes down to it, it's like, how have you not researched these things? I told him what I think about him, and I don't disagree with that assessment. At the same time, I don't put it past people just really believing the Earth's a globe and wanting to go and see the 24-hour sun, and in their mind, that would shut this down or whatever. They're wrong, but, whatever. No one spends that much time and money knowing this little. I agree it's weird. That part is weird, but I don't know. Especially if you get a whole bunch of other people to go, that would be cool. Critical Think, who will be with you and Jaren is totally debunked. Think who will be with you and Jaren has totally debunked Knickerbean. You can look forward to that chat. What are you talking about? You haven't debunked anything. You're talking about debunking the actual, like, radio transmissions that intersected. Who debunked it? Critical Think, who will be with you, has totally debunked it. What did he say? Where's Wally? Tell me what Critical Think said about the radio transmissions, because if it's diffraction, he hasn't debunked anything. And I guarantee you that's where it's going to stop. All the Globers will stop responding to the fact that it couldn't be diffraction because that would increase the actual width and divergence of the beam to such an extent that it would be completely unusable. It would get miles and miles wide, and it wouldn't be coherent. To completely destroy the signal, its coherency, and it would be way too wide to actually be able to coherently intersect the beams with a known width in advance so that you could then actually bomb the target. So if you're invoking diffraction, you're objectively wrong. And until those things are specifically addressed, no one totally debunked anything. And I can almost guarantee you that he didn't even address it. Create an XYZ axis and use geometry like a pyramid. Not sure what that's in reference to. 5K to Witsit. Get Brian Mullins on your show. Balls out physics author. Your brother from another mother, Witsit. I don't know what 5K to Witsit means, and I'm down to have most people on my show. I mean, I don't know how to get in contact with him. If you have contact with him, tell him to email me. Get Elon to supply internet. Supposedly that's going to happen. Who knows? I still think it's probably not going to happen. I still see it being canceled. So I don't know what, believe it or not, fellow flat earthers, we're not a monolith. We're not a cult. I don't have to agree with your assessment of it. I'm the one that's either going or not going. You realize that it's me making the decision about me. Like, if you want to make decisions about you, that's cool. If you're going to, the truth is, I find anyone that's trying to actually attack the flat earthers that are willing to go because they are too scared to go, think about how weird and goofy that is. Like, you're too scared to go because we want to know if there is really a 24-hour sun. All flat earthers have agreed for the last 10 years that we all want to know. There appears to not be one. They keep faking it. Doesn't make any sense. What's going on? Now all of a sudden flat earthers don't care. We don't need to know. There's an opportunity to know. We shouldn't check it out. Like, you guys are being weird. I mean, I think that's weird. So, I don't want to talk. This is one thing, though. I don't want to talk about this forever. I don't want to do where Jaron had to talk about it over and over and forever. I'm not doing that. I did this show. I'm talking about other things right now. I am going to start talking about FE some more again, but I'm not talking about Antarctica all the time, always. Like, it's just, I don't care. I'm not psychoanalyzing everyone involved. I'm not critiquing all the behavior involved. Like, if you think I shouldn't go, that's okay. I still love you. If you think I should go, that's cool. I still love you. I don't know for sure what I'm doing. I'm open to going. If you want to call me a Mason or a shill or some type of sellout, okay, cool story, bro. I don't care. You're obviously retarded. If you want to claim that I'm pushing the AE map because I'm a shill, you're obviously retarded as well, because I don't even actually claim the AE map. I've made it very clear. I think it's almost definitively not completely accurate. All these people talking so reckless and so crazy, I don't care. Respectfully, I don't care. And I would encourage you to just be more of an adult and understand and empathize with people's intentions and stop trying to attack people so much, especially when most of you are anonymous. Most of you would never go. No, most of you haven't had to take the real life consequences that Jaron and I have had to, right? And yet you want to sit back and critique us like you have some type of authority over our life, or you're some type of moral judge over it. Like, you're not, right? If you haven't at least sacrificed as much for this movement as the people that are discussing going, what do you look like trying to come along like with your chest out, virtue signaling, calling everyone shills? Like, I think it's lame. I think the people backtracking, claiming they wouldn't even care and it wouldn't make them think or wouldn't change anything, are lame. I agree with what I said. I don't think it definitively proves the Earth is a globe by any stretch. The preponderance of evidence says the Earth is not a globe. We've refuted the actual radius value. That's why I am open to going, because I don't think it's going to be there, and I want to see what's going to happen. I want to see what it is that we experience. If it's there, I want to know. I don't know how, there's no way I should have to explain that many more times, but just so you know, I'm not going to be doing it anyway. I think that kind of covers it there, am I excited? If I end up going, am I going to be really excited about it? No. Do I want to go? Not particularly, right? It's not my thing. I have a family. It's not going to make me any money. It's just going to take away from my ability to try to make money, which is something I don't have a lot of, and I need time. I have young children. This seems like it definitely has some possible red flags, just the possibility of that happening when it's consistently been shut down. It's just going to be cold, and you're supposed to be on watch for 24 hours, multiple days. And, no, I'm not excited about it, but I'm also like just not scared. And if no one else is gonna do it, like then whatever, dude, I'll do it. Put your life around Ruben Facebook will Duffy. I don't know what you're saying. Thanks, Austin. Any chance you might speak to Jim Brewer? His audience could benefit from that. Yeah, maybe. I think he recently talked to some flat earthers. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. And I'll be honest, like I didn't want to be too like brutal about things. It's like, dude, the people that call themselves global, they're like all dishonest degenerates. Like 95% of them are literal degenerates that incessantly lie. They're sadist. They're like almost unanimously anonymous. They constantly lie. They're called out for their lie. They come back and lie again. They type out big elaborate lies and narratives knowing that either you have to bait you into engaging with them, which is all they want because they're just anonymous trolls that want some type of energy is like attention is like their energy source, right? That they don't get in real life. And like they're just super toxic, dishonest people. They lie about everyone. They slander constantly. They're not honest about anything. That group of people is trash. Like there's no doubt. And the fact that we're like that's the thing I was breaking down is like not really just point blank saying that is I definitely have to agree with other people. It's sketchy. There's really no way around it. Like that group of people are dishonest about everything, including Mattoon. He's a perfect example, and that's why I just typically don't even say his name. All right, I don't know if you guys have any more questions. I have to pee. So, Austin, could you discuss how parallel crepuscular rays are possible on a flat Earth? They're not parallel. Even when you get up in the sky and you look at them, those supposed pictures aren't parallel. They literally diverge. And then when you point out, like, oh, your whole proof of parallel light rays from the clouds, shadows up in the plane actually aren't parallel. They prove that they're still diverging. They literally just disappear and wait till you're not around, and they make the argument again. So, literally, even in the globe paradigm, the sun rays aren't actually parallel because they're coming from a spherical source, which means the light is radiating out from a sphere. They can't be parallel. They have to be diverging out from a sphere. It's just that supposedly the range is so wide that by the time it reaches the Earth, just such a small portion of the divergent sun rays hit the Earth, and that small portion is effectively parallel for the Earth because of the proportionate size. They don't listen. Like that's what I'm like. They're useless. Like they have no intentions of being honest about any of this. I'd worry more about the synagogue of Satan rather than globe earthers. You're popular and a marked man. It is what it is. Yeah, they already attacked my entire subscription model. They attacked my entire subscription base. So, yeah, what are they gonna do? Austin, appreciate you, bro. Yeah, no problem. I guess I can let you guys pick. So one, you guys are satisfied for me to wrap up the stream. Let's just say one. We can wrap up the stream right now because I really have to pee. So either way, I'm gonna have to walk away in a sec. So one, you guys are satisfied with the stream. We'll just keep it with Will Duffy. We have another stream tomorrow night, which should be very exciting. You'll see the thumbnail. I'm gonna post it tonight. It's gonna be a really good conversation. It's going to be actually on an X space, but it will be streamed everywhere. You definitely want to check that out. I think Saturday night, I'm going to lay down a follow-up stream to that. It's going to be super epic called End Game. I'm going to lay out my take on everything, like the meta of what's going on, really big picture. You definitely don't want to miss the next two streams. So one, if people are already putting two, it's so funny. One, if you guys are satisfied with it. Two, if you want me to go like play my song for a second, step away, pee, come back, and then I'll like say make sure I didn't miss any super chats. Talk to you guys for a few more minutes. Okay, so one, if you guys are satisfied. Two, if you insist I stay a little longer. I'll let the people decide. Ko-fi? Yeah, that's what, like, yeah, I guess there is Ko-fi, and I have to pee before Ko-fi regardless. Okay, I'm gonna play the song. I'll come back and read like the Ko-fi chats and stuff. So if you have any donations, go ahead and send them in. We'll be back in just a second. I can't just read them all right now. There's no way. So, all right, I will be back in. I think the video is 3 minutes long, so we'll be back in 3 minutes. Oh, wrong one.
Geopolitically, we in a field that's for Israel. Wonder, is it real? Rappers acting say they high, say they sipping pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big pharma set it up, had to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically, yeah, we in a field that's for Israel. Wonder, is it real? Took the way you saw the world, then distorted it. Now you think you wanna rock it, twirl somewhere orbiting. Theories disproportionate, the truth distorted quick with a forceful grip. They forcing the simple that we absorbing quick. Took the people's signature, the mean extorted it. They forging it, abusing cause informants who informing them. There's a surplus, but they tell us there are shortages. Credit economy mortgages, dollar that's supported with empty fortresses. But what's important is this, we porting ships important. Yes, of course it is, but extortion is in accordance with an assortment list of foreign tricks. We ignoring which informant this, informant this. It looked like we were snoring tricked. Pedophilia and the government endorsing it. Yeah, eugenics is exactly what abortion is. You just vilify those insubordinate. Way to matrix engineer, that's unfortunate. Geopolitically, we in a field that's for Israel. Wonder, is it real? Rappers actors say they high, say they sipping pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big pharma set it up just to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically, yeah, we in a field that's for Israel. Wonder, is it real?
Alright. What is up? You know what's funny is I went through a stage where I was freestyling on stream. I'd play an instrumental and freestyle. I wonder if I should bring that back for like a show a week or something and streamed where I rap a little bit. I was thinking about rhymes earlier with Zionists, like Israel's got America in a vice grip. What's up with these Zionists? Esoteric beliefs in Isis and Osiris, worship something that came down enlightening. Think they can be God with a lie. It's the same lie which Eve got enticed with. All right. Let me pull Ko-fi up. I guess like the reason part of me wasn't really eager to do this stream was one, it's just like wasn't priority for me. But also I just knew like there's no way, and I don't really care to make everyone happy. You can tell by what I've been doing recently. I've been talking about polarizing subjects. I've been talking about a bunch of different subjects. Everyone tell me to stay in my lane, getting super triggered about Trump and all this stuff. But I just knew there's a 0% chance that you make everyone happy here, that they're gonna have something to say. And I really don't see how anyone could really disagree with my position on this whole thing. But obviously that's why it's my position. So it is what it is. Like I made it very clear. I don't think the falsification of a radius value suddenly evaporates or dissipates because you see a 24-hour sun do a perfect 360 around you like the globe predicts at the same time. That is not expected. That is perplexing. I would have to step back and reassess and reevaluate what I currently think. I would say, okay, is this typically accepted idea of this map with the circle or path of the sun's correct? What are we missing? What's going on? This doesn't really add up. Can someone show me a legitimate physical demonstration of this happening? Someone just like vaguely saying it and drawing a torus field and then claiming they have all the answers, but then when asked specifically to provide a causal mechanism that makes sense and coherently explain it in an understandable way, they never do that. That isn't satisfactory to me. Jaren's not some bad guy because it isn't satisfactory to him. I don't know what all he has or hasn't been saying. I don't know if it's the way he's saying it, if he's being combative. I don't know why people are getting triggered. But I think Jaren is sincere, and I think that he's honest about his position. A lot of people claiming that Jaren is like... and obviously, I staunchly disagree with Jaren about the scriptures. Staunchly. And I really dislike some of his negative comments about the scriptures. But, you know... I think Jaren's a genuine person. That's my homie. He's like my brother, and I have his back. And you're not going to convince me not to have his back. And all these people saying that he was set up, he's controlled opposition, it's just goofy. And like when you know these people's real lives and what they've gone through and what they've been through and what they've sacrificed to talk about this subject, then you have these people that haven't sacrificed even a fraction of that, always talking trash and belittling them, talking down to them, making them not even want to keep doing it, but they feel trapped because they've already done it. So now what do? It's like, shut up. You should be ashamed of yourself. The people claiming everyone is a Mason, controlled opposition that's talking, shut up. You should literally be ashamed of yourself. That's how I feel now. I don't know what all he said or hasn't said. I'm not claiming that I would stamp everything that he has said. I'm just saying the stuff I'm seeing a bunch of people say is just a joke. And I honestly, I've lost respect for so many people reading their comments. It's just a joke. It's like, what have you done, bro? You know, like I'm a real like, okay, show me kind of guy. Like, what are your fruits? And most of you won't even show your real identity and talk about this. And I'm not saying you have to. I'm saying you definitely just can't even, you don't even have a position to so vehemently and adamantly critique people. And then if there's a group of people who are just like, oh, it's AE map's wrong. Everyone that pushes the shield, it's like, okay, what is it really? I have no idea. And I don't need to know. Like, okay, but people are just trying to figure it out. We use this conceptually as a framework to kind of convey the idea to people. Like, what are you doing? Everything is fake, everyone's a liar. Like, it's like, I don't even want to give it my attention because it's not worthy of it. You know? There's my take on that. That's the elephant in the room, apparently. I genuinely don't know what all he said or hasn't said, but... Alright. Sorry if someone sent Kofi's for me to read to him. I should have checked it. I don't think they did, though. Still new, so FE question to figure it all out. If MMX disproved the ether, then how did 𝐚𝐭'𝐬 get its results? Maybe I'm mistaken, but did those experiments not assume an ether to detect the rotation? If so, then how does that result not confirm MMX via ether? That is a great point. So you are actually correct, right? Like the combination of MMX and MGP, which is Michelson-Morley experiment, Michelson-Gell-Pearson, the combination of them absolutely show that there has to be an ether. And that's why actually they were confused after MGP even, right? So this is where people will just claim like, oh, it's different, I promise, because somehow the rotational detection on the Earth is totally different. Trust me. And they'll say Sagnac effect and then you dig into it and it's like, what? There's not even a relativistic explanation for the Sagnac effect. It has no viability. If they use the same exact framework of C plus V in an actual background medium in which light moves through and therefore detects motion relative to the propagation of light, and they use that exact same framework to get the prediction versus this ideal rotation that was detected within 98% accuracy every single time, then that presents a major problem for the claim that MMX just showed there was no ether. And I've broken down all of this. that MMX doesn't even show that. You didn't just get rid of the ether. You had to get rid of the ether, and then you had to get rid of Newtonian gravity and claim that gravity's not a force and that the Earth's not actually moving in a circular path around the sun because gravity's a force pulling it around it. You had to say it's actually free falling in a straight path through the bending and warping of space-time, and gravity's not a force. It's just the bending and warping of space-time. And when the space-time bends and warp, it actually causes time itself to slow down, and it causes distances to get shorter. So when you try to use any measuring apparatus to measure time and distances, it's actually going to deceive you, because it's going to look like, for example, in the scenario that the Earth is stationary, but actually it's not. Trust me, it's all just an illusion. That was just like this Jewish mystic named Einstein that stole everyone's work and didn't actually even cite any of the stuff that he plagiarized. That's why it's literally plagiarism, literally by definition. By definition, relativity is plagiarism. So that's a whole topic. I've covered that much more extensively, but long story short, you are correct. It's a blatant contradiction. And then what they always have to do is pretend that you're just so stupid that you don't understand any of it. No, we understand what your answer is, allegedly, that the Sagnac effect, and it literally doesn't work. It doesn't even actually address the distinction between the two with any type of viability. I know there was a lot, but I am ready to get on with the show and move on. So thank you for the super chat. All right, thanks for your work. Thanks for your work and blessings, sir. As much as Jaren is your friend, you must be open to the fact that he might be compromised or later following the experiment. I'm objective and without judgment. You must be open to that. Austin, be fearless and thorough. Bless. Thank you, Lukey, for the $10. It's not that I'm not open to it. I'm technically open to anything. Like, dude, I know him on a personal level. I've talked to him for many, many hours about all kinds of things. I know him better than you guys know him. Like, that's just a fact. I do. And like, I don't think that's the case at all. I think that what has happened, so many people attacked him because he was just being honest about this, that he got pulled in to defending himself. And frankly, like he has some valid frustration where people are not being honest about some of this now. I don't know what all he said or hasn't said, but I think he probably just got caught up in actually like all the toxic stuff that so many of you people say in the chat. And you don't know what it's like to like go through all of this. I feel like you sacrifice so much stuff, and you come look at your chats, and it's just always so many people just complaining and accusing you of stuff. And it's just like, why do I do this? It's a very frustrating paradigm. From RG, where in the scriptures do you think it promotes a globe Earth? Oh, sorry. I don't know who RG is, and I guess that was for him, but sorry, I didn't see it. It doesn't. Run Boston, very generous, man. Thank you for the $100, bro. The truth is worth seeking. I appreciate all you do. Witsit, the haters are going to hate, but the creator sees all. Keep pushing forward. Much love to all on the same path. Thank you, man. Much love, brother. I really appreciate you, and thank you for the kind words. This thing is big. Stay humble in prayer with the full armor of Yah and discernment up. May the Most High bless you and light your path always. Much love, my brother. Thank you, man. Thank you, Scott. And couldn't agree more. I agree. It's very important and a big decision. And that's why I'm going to pray about it. And I know that he'll tell me what to do. It's so funny because everyone on the other side will think I'm so crazy for saying that. It just kind of goes to show you that we're in basically a spiritual divide. And let me be very clear. Not everyone in Flat Earth is on the right side of the spiritual divide. I'll be very, very frank about that. Justin Johnson, thank you for the $20, brother. Without a message. All right. Last time I checked Rockfin, there was nothing on there. There's one now. Any word, Robert Bassano, Planet Veritas is always the best guest if he comes out of retirement. Oh, that would be pretty cool. And let him tell his story about Hubble telescope. But thank you for the $5 on Rockfin. All right, so we have a couple 140, and then what do we have? We got up to like 1,000 here. I don't expect it. It was around 1,500. All right, I think we are caught up. I'll double check YouTube. We're good. All right. What's you back to streaming regularly? Yeah, that's the plan. Just like, dude, time is something I don't really have much of at all. Like I've had to try to do other things, right, to try to like actually make money. And then it's like obviously having a 1-month-old and a 20-month-old is pretty intense. Try to squeeze work in there and then try to consistently go to the gym. It's been a adjustment period for sure. But yes, that is the plan. So I'll just let you guys know what's going on. I think I'm gonna try to host my first X space tomorrow night and have on a guest. He's Donnie Discernment on X. That's his username. But his original username is at Donnie Darkened, I think. His name's now Donnie Discerned. He has a very interesting take on all of this. I think there's a lot of validity to a lot of it. It overlays a lot with my original prediction about Trump and many things, like 5 or 6 years ago now, I guess. And I think it's very interesting, and I want him to lay it out. I want him to give his opinion on the whole like JQ we've been discussing, and he has a very different take. And yeah, I think it's cool to give everyone, that's put time in and has some compelling arguments, a platform to speak, and let's try to figure it all out together. So tomorrow night's going to be very cool. You can actually join the space, of course, and what we'll do is we'll let him talk and fully lay out his position. I'm going to go back and forth with him a little bit, and then we're going to bring people up to talk. So if you actually want to talk in the stream tomorrow night, you can go to the X space. So let me just follow me on X, and then you'll see me announce the space, and you just join, and it'll be streamed on all platforms. I will actually create the stream right when I get done here, so you'll see the thumbnail and the stream and the time, which will be 9:30 tomorrow, shortly after this stream ends. And then Saturday night, I will have another stream called In Game, which will just be me really laying everything out, and I think you definitely don't want to miss that. And when it comes to the Misfits, obviously we've had some hiccups all over the place, but I'm looking into many different options, but as of now, we're going to stick with Ko-fi, and I'm going to really try to stick with it because we've had to move a couple times, and we've got some people back over there. I think what we'll end up doing is combining whatever platforms that you're at, stay where you're most comfortable, stay where you're at, and we'll make it where everyone kind of gets the same perks. So I'm really going to turn that up here soon, and hopefully we can try to bounce back from the, I think it was an attack, right? We found out that it was a third party that attacked it. Literally a third party was stopping people's cards. Like, it's crazy. A third party was stopping the payments. And so then it was canceling everyone's subscription. It was pretty crazy. And it was, very interesting timing with what I started talking about. So we may be under serious attack right now. I don't know. Sucks. It was very unfortunate. Happened right before the end of the month. When most of the subscriptions were new, and when I kind of rely on that, I factor that residual in. So it is what it is, but hopefully we can make up for it. So I definitely encourage anyone that wants to help support the channel, consider signing up for a monthly membership. Different tiers will get different perks. I'm going to start a Substack as well. So if you're a certain level, you'll have access to my Substack, and I'll periodically write a newsletter. And put some information and content on Substack. So I'm going to start putting out a lot of content, and hopefully we can try to build it up. All right, cool. So that's the next 2 nights, content-wise, and I'll keep you guys updated, and we'll get a calendar worked out. I don't want to make too many promises because I have all these ideas, I make all these promises, and I need a whole team of people to really do the amount of things I want to do or I say I'm going to do, and then I end up just not being able to do it all. Or it just takes way longer than I expected. So, I am working on homeschool curriculum, and I won't get into all the details there, but I'm allotting time for that each day. It's just difficult. I'm trying to build all the stuff for the content. I'm also trying to find a way that actually brings some money. So hopefully we can we can merge those together, but we'll figure it all out. All right, you guys get it. So, and if anyone's interested in some type of agreement or deal that you guys want to maybe invest in either the homeschool place or even building up the channel, and then getting kicked back, let me know. I'll work it out. Where's the Brother Nathaniel stream? On Rockfin, Rumble, and Odyssey, and X. It can't be left up here, obviously. So anytime there's a stream, I haven't uploaded a trailer, but anytime there's a stream, you should know, right? Like if it gets taken down, it's just over there. I encourage everyone, go follow me on Rumble for sure, at the least. But you should do Rockfin as well. But I don't have many followers over there. Follow me on X as well. All right, cool. So anyway, I'm going to try to really make it. I'm trying to find some automation to help me with this, but I have a Telegram, t.me/ I think Witsit gets it, where I'll start dropping stuff in there. Obviously, I have X, and then we'll have private comms with the subscribers, and I'll try to get everything kind of running smooth. So if you need a team, I need a job. I need a team, but I would need to get things set up in such a way that I could afford one, right? So, greatest show on earth. Get some sleep with it. You need it, yeah. And I have to get up really early and work out. It's like the only time I have to work out. I have to get up really early, like 5 a.m. So I need to wrap this up so I can get the other stream uploaded and set up. Okay, I love you guys. I think we're caught up on everything. Oh, I'll be uploading. I have a bunch of different conferences and stuff I still need to upload. So I'll upload my biblical cosmology presentation, or like speech, or whatever you want to call it, presentation that I did at Braveritas. And then I also did a NASA Lives and did a FE 101. I did 3 there. I'll upload those. I recently spoke at the Truth and Freedom Conference. I'll upload that. There may be a couple other things like that. So we'll have some of that uploaded here pretty soon. Cool. That's about it. All right. Seek and speak truth unequivocally. Let me just double check one more time. How dare you? Yeah, we're good. But I'm just going to say 100% we're about to start having private streams. So I think we're going to do the first private stream like in the next couple of days. So you should just, for those that are subscribers, keep an eye on Ko-fi. And what I think I may do is I might try to rip out emails and make sure I send the email so you guys know as well for the private streams. And then I'll put on Ko-fi behind the subscribers. So obviously only subscribers will be able to see it. And same with if you're on Locals or Patreon, I'll do the same thing. And we'll have like private hangouts, and we'll just open up a really big Zoom. People can jump on and they can talk. We'll just kind of all hang out. Also, I'll just do some behind the scenes or private streams. It won't always just be like really long periods of everyone being opened up. It'll be audio chaos, but you guys can ask me direct questions. You guys can see some behind the scenes stuff like that. We're definitely doing that starting in the next couple of days. I'm going to make sure you guys really get content if you are a subscriber, because we have to try to bounce back. We can't let them like actually successfully deter me from speaking about the things I'm speaking about right now. All right. I love you guys. Seek and speak truth. Wait, did we get another super chat? To help you defend yourself against Candace and the rabid penguins. Thank you, Lindette, the $5. You, Aaron. Use a plumb bob and make a pyramid with 4 equal legs and see where the feet land. Mark both possible location via survey for globe and flat targets. That's interesting thing for the $5. All right, cool. We're out of here. I love you guys. Definitely like keep an eye, put notifications on. Keep an eye out even in the next like 15-20 minutes. Hopefully I can get it done real quick. And just follow me on X. If you don't have X, just suck it up and go get an X. And also consider following me on Telegram. Consider being a subscriber. I'll be announcing the next stream here soon. And jump into the space if you can, if you have an X. Cool. All right. Seek and speak truth unequivocally. The weak find contentment in the consensus of ignorance. So who cares what other people think? I encourage everyone, be kinder, be more patient, be more understanding of other people. It's always good that we have conversations even when we disagree with people, especially intellectual disagreements, so we can sift through. And typically what happens is there's truth on both sides somewhere, and sometimes we overlook things. Let's not be quick to jump to like conclusions and accusations about people. I mean, we should obviously be skeptical. We should always call out anything that we think is dishonest or bad. We should speak the truth. We should expose darkness to light and stuff like that, right? But we also shouldn't be like hypocritical. We shouldn't be hypercritical about things we wouldn't do, or like, I think hypocritical is the word, right? And people should show love and kindness and patience. And I think we should see a lot more of that. And wait till guys, trust me, you definitely want to see the next 2 streams. It's going to be total gravy, super important. I think it's one of the most important things that needs to be talked about. I've set everything up the way I have in a way where we go from Dustin to Brother Nathaniel to Donnie Discerns to me doing the stream. Very important. Catch up on the streams if you haven't seen them. Either way, you definitely don't want to miss the next 2 streams. Incredibly important. Incredibly important. So, okay, so it just totally blacked it out, but I love you guys because the Zoom ended, but it's all good. All right, I love you guys. Make sure you check out the streams. Speaking truth, seek and speak truth unequivocally. The weak find contentment in consensus of ignorance, and what's true is really popular. What's popular is rarely true. Peace.
Geopolitically, we in a field that's for Israel. Wonder, is it real? Rappers acting say they high, say they sipping pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big Pharma set it up, had to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically, yeah, we in a field that's for Israel. Wonder, is it real? Took the way you saw the world, then distorted it. Now you think you wanna rock that twirl somewhere orbiting. Theories disproportionate, the truth distorted quick with a forceful grip. They forcing the simple that we absorbing quick. Took the people's signature, the mean extorted it. They forging it, abusing cause informants who informing them. There's a surplus, but they tell us there are shortages. Credit economy mortgages, dollar that's supported with empty fortresses. But what's important is this, we porting ships important. Yes, of course it is, but extortion is in accordance with an assortment list of foreign tricks. We ignoring which informant, disinformant this. It looked like we were snoring tricks. Pedophilia and the government endorsing it. Yeah, eugenics is exactly what abortion is. You just vilify those as subordinate. Way to matrix engineer, that's unfortunate. Geopolitically, we in a field that's for Israel. Wonder, is it real? Rappers actors say they high, say they sipping pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big Pharma set it up just to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically,